Stand up, New York Giants fans, as we are a day away from the New York Giants defending their 1-5 record as they're going up against the Carolina Panthers. And we'll see if, we could find a way to win a football game. Giants coming in as a 2.5-point underdog. We'll talk about all the injuries and all the players that the Giants have called up and talk about how the New York Giants possibly could get out with a win. I'm not going to go in with any raised expectations. I'm not going to give any false hope. I don't expect the New York Giants to win this football game. I'll talk about in this stream as to why I feel that way. But if they were going to win one out of their next 4 games, this would probably be the one. The Raiders are 4-2. You've got the Chiefs. You've got the Bucks. Christian McCaffrey's banged up for the Panthers. And, yeah, we'll jump into it. But, Baddog, what's going on, my man?
This team's got me drinking. Got a beer over here tonight. This is it's been ugly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's hard to ever expect this team to win. It just sucks. It's been difficult. It's been a difficult few years. I definitely had higher expectations for this team. Obviously, the injuries suck. And then you want your team to be 100% healthy. But as I've stated numerous times, we were 0-3 when we were pretty much healthy against really bad teams, mind you. Washington, Atlanta, Denver's not really good. Denver's falling off. It'll be interesting again. Like you said, I do think that they can beat Carolina, especially with no Christian McCaffrey. But, we'll see. I mean, it's not going to stop us from doing the games. It's not going to stop us from doing content. I know last week you're a bit emotional. I don't blame you. I mean, we're all pissed off at this point. But I know you're not going anywhere. You love this team too much, man. If we dealt with this for 4 years, Chris, it's another freaking 11 games.
It's just, this year you're going with, higher expectations, man. And this year's been tougher than any of the others because the last 2 years, I think it was, I think we kind of realized it's a rebuild. And this year, even though maybe expectations were a little too high, they had to be higher due to the fact of what the New York Giants did in the offseason. And it's just been a disaster. And I don't want to use injuries as an excuse because it's a next man up mentality. And I'm not making any excuses for our head coach. Joe Judge has done a terrible job this year, but there's no denying it. The New York Giants have been bit by the injury bug all year. I mean, I posted on Twitter today, quarterback 1's been hurt, running back 1's been hurt, wide receiver 1 through 5 have been hurt, tight end 1's been hurt, left guard 1, 2, and 3 have been hurt, center's been hurt, left tackle's been hurt. The entire offense has been hurt. And now, in this game today, we called up, I think it's McKinley, whatever his name is, used to play for the Texans, linebacker. We just signed him in the practice squad 4 days ago. It looks like he's going to start. Tay Crowder's going to probably miss time. Of course, Martinez has been out, so we're thin at the middle linebacker position. They called up Moa as well, the defensive tackle, and they called up David Sills, which I'm sure a lot of New York Giants fans will be excited about. He was a fan favorite. Board's out, obviously, with the broken hand now. You got Tony out. You got Barkley out. It is, and obviously the big one being Andrew Thomas. So you got to worry about that. And I think, and I'm going to get the Bill super chat. I saw that. And thank you so much, Bill, for the incredible generosity. But I'm going to speak about my keys to the game, but it's certainly going to involve the offensive line for the New York Giants. But, yeah, a lot of things to worry about going into this game against Carolina. I guess from, an optimistic point of view, the Giants have nothing to lose, so they should play like it. I mean, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's a fact. And, I think more disappointing than all the injuries on offense is the fact the defense has been pretty healthy the entire season, and it's been worse than our offense. I think that's been the biggest disappointment to me. Not so much the offense. I think we knew we had a lot of questions on the offense going in, even before the injuries. But this defense outside of Blake Martinez, and I know that's a big loss, but it's been healthy. And secondary has been healthy, and Leonard Williams has been healthy, and it's all been terrible. It's all been terrible. Teams convert so easily. By the way, if anybody's watching Bama, Tennessee, that's a fumble. Bryce Young fumble going into the end zone. That's going to be a turnover. So it just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, the thing that's frustrating to me is I don't know how the hell this turns around. I don't know what, I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. I know a lot of people tell you it starts with the quarterback. This defense is a train wreck. I mean, like I said, we never got through this rebuild. We got to start again. It just is what it is. This group of players isn't good enough. Even when they are healthy, man, they're not good enough. It's not good enough. Joe Judge is 7-15 since he got here. Dave Gettleman is like 16-38 or some ridiculous stat like that. it's not good enough. I know that we have injuries, but every team has injuries. So like Amani Toomer said, the Ravens are 5-1. They got a ton of injuries. Cardinals have injuries. Like every team deals with injuries. They find a way to win. Look at the Browns. Who the hell did the Browns even have playing the other night? They win.
The Browns had a undrafted free agent running back. For everybody that says that Chubb and Hunt are such a great running back duo, I always say it's the offensive line. Well, they had an undrafted free agent running back that was starting for them with all the injuries. He was playing in the AAF in 2019. The guy runs for like 150 yards because they got guys in the trenches. They find ways to get it done. And the New York Giants are just not built properly. It was something that I said going into the year that I hoped that they were right and we were wrong. Well, unfortunately, we were right. The Giants should have addressed the offensive line. That's clearly been a big problem, but that does not excuse, like you said, the performance from the defense. And we're going to talk about that throughout this stream, but it's been beyond underwhelming, the defense for the New York Giants this year. It's been downright pathetic. Jeff, man, thank you very much, man. I heard former Little Giants wide receiver Hot Hands Hannon is available on the free agent waiver wire. Should we sign him? May have better hands than Slayton Ingram. I'd be willing to sign anybody right now off the street right now that could catch a football with how poor this all these injuries to this wide receiving core, Jeff, man. I'd be willing to sign somebody that was blind. And Bill, man, thank you very much. Boys, keys to a possible win. Okay, I'll start. When I look at this Carolina Panthers team, the one thing that jumps off the page to me, especially with the injury to McCaffrey, their offense doesn't really scare me. Now, of course, our defense has to be much better. We can't be giving up, a touchdown before the half for the 7th consecutive game. Our defense has been abysmal. And maybe this is a get-right game for the defense. I hope. I'm not going to go in expecting that. But on the other side of the ball, the big key for me, I look at the Carolina Panthers, their strength of their team this year. I think they have the 3rd highest pressure rate in football. They have the third best defense in terms of yards against, 6th in terms of points against. They get after the quarterback. They got Reddick, a guy that Baddog really wanted in the offseason as an edge rusher, and they got Brian Burns, who's really talented. So I worry about those 2 edge rushers, and with Andrew Thomas out, you're asking Nate Solder and Matt Parrott, who looked horrible last game, to get the job done. So to me, that's the biggest key on offense. You have got to find a way to protect Daniel Jones. I'd like to get a ground game established. I just think it's probably going to be very hard to do when you look at what the New York Giants have been able to do on the ground. I think they're averaging like 4.1 yards per carry, but that includes Daniel Jones. The running backs are averaging about 3.5 yards per carry. So that's going to be that's going to be something that they have to get better at as well if they're going to start winning football games. And we'll see. We'll see if it's a get-right game for the Giants, but it's not going to be easy.
No, I mean, nothing's ever easy for us. There's no doubt about it. And I know Daniel Jones probably still has nightmares about his son Reddick. I think he had 5 sacks last time we played him last year. He absolutely destroyed us. And I mean, I guess the one thing that we can hope for is that Sam Darnold's and plays the way he did against the Eagles, just passing out Christmas gifts in October. He's not a good quarterback. I've been saying that since day one. I don't think he is a good quarterback, but our defense makes any quarterback look really good. I mean, it's pretty amazing how, you talked about maybe this is a get-right game for our defense, and I know a lot of offenses go into this game saying maybe this is a get-right game for our offense. So if the Giants have any chance of winning this game, they got to put the Carolina Panthers in obvious passing situations. They got to get the hell out of that soft zone. They got to be more aggressive on defense. They got to try to go after Sam Darnold, play a little man coverage. They got to change something up. I mean, I don't care who you are. You can't let Darnold have 4 or 5 seconds back there to throw. He'll kill us. So put him in 3rd and long, go after his ass, make him turn it over. He can turn it over. He's turned it over a lot in his career. So they got to do that on defense. And I saw somebody, you probably get the super chat. I don't think you have yet. He said it right. Running the ball is our best, probably the best way we're going to win this game is by us.
If we can.
If we can. But it's probably going to be our best.
Yeah, if we can, I agree, especially with our inability probably to protect the passer with Daniel Jones. But, if we can on defense, like you said, Darnold is prone to turnovers. Our defense has not done a good job in that area. We also got to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. I mean, the New York Giants, I posted this on Twitter today, for the year, in 6 games, have a half sack less than Myles Garrett has for the season. Myles Garrett has 9.5 sacks. The New York Giants have 10 as a team.
Wow, we have way more sacks than I thought we did.
Yeah, we got 10 as a team in 6 games. That's still like 1.
I thought we had like 3.5 or 5 or something.
Well, I think Leo's got like 2. I think our D line has like at least like 6 or 7 of them, and I think our edge rushers probably have like 2 or 3. Well, Old Jory has 3 by himself, but I think he
Look,
probably has all of them for the edge rushers. But yeah, man, I think that obviously we got to get more pressure on the quarterback. We have to start getting sacks. It's something we have not been able to do. And hopefully Patrick Graham could orchestrate a good game plan. The one thing I'll say about the Panthers, in terms of a good thing for the Giants, their offensive line is almost as bad as ours. It's been really bad this year as well. So maybe the New York Giants defensive line, which I actually thought got some decent pressure last game. Leo was getting good pressure at the beginning of that game, and maybe they could beat up on their opponent up in the trenches and find a way to get pressure on Darnold. We're going to have to create some turnovers if we're going to win, though, because I don't see this New York Giants offense with all the missing pieces going up against a good defense like Carolina putting up a lot of points. So we're going to have to create some turnovers. The good news, Bad Dog, like you said, Darnold's not allergic to doing that if you get pressure on him.
yeah, and again, that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to win the turnover battle. We're gonna have to put our offense in good situations to succeed. And if we do get into the red zone, we got to score 7. I mean, it's just that I don't know what it is. I don't know what happens to Daniel Jones in this offense when we get inside the 20s. They just haven't figured it out in years, and I don't quite understand it. You would have thought with all the weapons we had, the big receiver, and not that these guys are there now, but at the beginning of the year, when Kenny Golladay, 6-4 in the red zone, a guy like Kyle Rudolph, you bring him in, maybe he is washed up, certainly looks that way, but you got him there, you got Saquon Barkley, you got Daniel Jones that could run. It just looked like it would be very difficult to defend the Giants inside the 20 or inside the 10, and it seems like I don't know if it's the play calling, I don't know if it's the offense, I really don't know what it is. It's everything. Pretty much. I mean, you can't be this inept in the red zone if it's not every single person not doing their job. And we have to start scoring in there. Winning this game, I don't know. It just sucks. We're 2-5. It's like, I mean, does it even matter? Because then like you said, you look at the next 3 games after that, it's ridiculous. I don't know, man. It's just, it's been a rough season.
We're in a tough spot right now. The red zone offense, like you said, was something, and I'll talk about that more in a second. I just want to get some of these before I lose them.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you very much. Weakest stand-up ever. Yeah, I can't come with a strong stand-up right now, Mike, but we're going to get to the red zone offense in a second. But the Giants have not earned a strong stand-up for me.
They earned to sit down at this point or lay down. For real.
Brandon, thank you very much. Charlotte native here, and we have to win. Can't have my friends thinking the Panthers are amazing for beating the Lions. Yeah, that probably should be their team name the way they've played over the last decade.
And we'll worse than us. It's them. I feel bad for the Lions fans.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, he's saying Giants instead. He's talking about the Panthers, right? He's calling the Giants the Lions because we've been losing.
Oh,
that's what the L. But no, I mean,
gotcha. Listen, he must be part of the EOC and the construction worker Saban's crew, an orphanage DeGrom, because he does that with the L. It's got to be part of it. I mean, he is a 90210 guy, so maybe that's I don't.
Yeah, but we'll see, Brandon. Man, I think we have a shot, but I'm not predicting us to win. I honestly don't even. I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown, but maybe it's my negative side coming out right now with this team. I have very little faith in this New York Giants football team, and maybe that'll make them start winning games. Ninja Man, thank you very much. You guys are the best. I've been watching you both for a while. Keep up doing the good work, even if the team doesn't deserve your hard work. Hey, man. You guys are the biggest reason why I continue to make content. It's certainly not the New York Giants the way they've played, especially this year in a year in which I had much higher expectations. I've been really let down, and it sucks, man. It sucks to root for a team like this with as poorly as they've played. I just hope it gets better, man. I hope it gets better next year. But like Bad Dog said, if I'm being honest with you guys, and that's what I'm going to be, I don't think it's gonna. I honestly don't. I look right now at this Giants team, and this was a year I needed to see progress. Otherwise, I think we're a couple of years away again. I really do, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope they come in and they change it up real fast, and this team becomes ultra competitive. But going into next year, even if they feel like they can compete, now you're again banking on all these injury-prone players to stay healthy again for another year. And every player in this team seems to get hurt. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the type of players that they draft. I don't know if it's that we're cursed. Everybody seems to be going down with injuries. Like right now, how could I say confidently that I think Andrew Thomas could stay healthy for a season? The guy had a foot injury all of last year. He's now had a foot injury again this year. He's had to be put on IR. Even Tony got hurt in the preseason. Now he's hurt in the regular season. Like everybody's going down with injuries. So it's very hard for me to tell you guys that I see a bright future for the New York Giants right now, because quite honestly, right now, I don't. Maybe my opinion will change over the course of the season in terms of having hope for next year. But right now, like Baddog said, I think we're looking at another rebuild. I really do. Now, it may not be a full blow up, but I think we're looking at at least a partial rebuild. And we might have to be patient for a few more years. And I know Giants fans hate hearing that.
Yeah, when I talk about rebuild, I think it's just you're getting rid of your GM. I think that's without question. And I don't care when the GM goes, I don't care if it's been 2 years or not. And I know that's not how you build a winning franchise, but you have to get rid of the coaches. You have to let a GM come in here and you have to give the GM control. You can't force anybody on a GM. You have to let him have control. Somebody talked to me about, I forgot what it was, but the Cardinals, they had a head coach for a year and a quarterback for a year, and they dumped them both. Yep. And look at where they are now. 2018, they were absolutely terrible. Josh Rosen was terrible. I forgot who their coach was. He was there for 1 year. They said, to hell with you, bringing in Cliff Kingsbury from Texas Tech, bringing in Kyler Murray, and boom. Look at the Cardinals. Look at that. See how he just took balls to say, whoops, I made a mistake, and I'm starting over immediately. The Giants may let it linger too long because with a bad GM, I tried to defend Gettleman. I defended Gettleman for a couple of years where it was like, hey, he took over a bad situation, which he did, but he did not make it any better. And looking at it this year where I've really gotten in this case, now said it's time to fire the guy, he's made it worse. We're in a worse spot because now you don't know what your quarterback is. Your cap space is terrible. You have no –
I would say it's about the same, but that's not good. When he took over, it was horrible. Like, at least now you have 2 first-round picks, but like you said, and you probably have freedom to take your quarterback if need be. I think we both agree that Gettleman didn't have the freedom to take his quarterback when he first took the job. But regardless, he didn't – like, he inherited as close to as bad a situation as you can inherit, and he didn't make it any better.
No.
So that – and unfortunately, it's what I've been saying the last week is – I'm going to have to give the next GM 2 or 3 years. I'm not going to jump down the guy's throat because I understand he is inheriting just as bad of a situation as Dave Gettleman did. Even though he does have 2 first-round picks, we'll see how high those picks may be. The cap situation next year is not good. The following year it should be if they don't go out and make stupid signings. So it's going to take some time if they look to retool this roster. But obviously we're not going to know that until year's end.
Yeah, but like we said, if you want a really good GM in here, you're going to have to let them have control.
Of course.
You're not going to get your number 1 pick if you say, well, you're going to come in, but you're going to keep the coaching staff and you're going to keep your quarterback and you're not going to – I'm going to tell you what I want with these picks. You got to let that guy do what he wants to do. If that means moving on from Daniel Jones, that's what it means. If it means keeping Daniel Jones, that's what it means. If he wants to keep the coaches, then let him keep the coaches. But if he wants his own guys and he wants to draft different positions, if he wants to get rid of Saquon Barkley and get a running back in here, or whatever, just dump Barkley, whatever the hell he wants to do, you got to let him do it. We have to let a GM have free reign. You can't force things on a GM. It's not right to the GM. It's not right to the coaches. It's not right to anybody.
You're not going to get the right GM if you're not willing to do that either. No good GM candidates taking this job without.
The Giants need a bright young guy. They need a guy that is up to date with the 21st century here, not the 20th century. We need a guy with intuitive, what I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but something has to do with modern times.
More with the times.
Yeah.
More with the times. And let me read a dependable line, man. Thank you so much for being a member for 12 months. Love the content, guys. Keep up the good work. Having 4 roses and Coke because our team's been disappointing. Yeah, it's been beyond disappointing. I don't know if we've been the most disappointing in the league, but it's been damn close. We're up there for sure. I think most Giant fans had us at least for 7 wins at the beginning of the year, and maybe we'll find a way to still do that, but not looking good. MY Giants 26, man, thank you very much. Going to the game tomorrow, wish me luck. Good luck. Good luck to the New York Giants. I think Bill said he was going to the game as well, so I hope he has a great time too. Just have a good time, man, and try to enjoy the game, and hope with the New York Giants find a way to get a W for you guys, man. You certainly deserve it.
Our Giants fan couldn't have said it any better than he just did there. F Mara. That's right. Yeah. Right.
We've been saying that on this show for years. Mara's the primary problem with this team. The problem is you can't fire Mara, right?
Somebody asked me, Chris, I don't know if it was last night or the other night. They said to me, when's the last time? I said, when's the last time in October you were like, I can't wait for the Knicks? And I said, I think it was 1992. I really do, because the Knicks were they took the Bulls to a 7-game series. And 93, they were supposed to be really good. The Yankees were terrible in 92, and the Giants were not good in 92. So I do think that 1992 was the last time they could sit there and go, God, I can't wait for the Knicks to start.
Well, they were also the toast of the town back then. The Knicks. They were the
well, they just started to go on their run. Pat Riley had just taken over, and then you got excited about, hey, the Knicks, this team took the champions of 7 games. And they look really good, man. It's just what a difference a good coach makes, Chris.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the Knicks this year. And
that first game against the Celtics is one of the best games I ever watched.
Oh my God.
The electricity in the Garden was ridiculous.
I tell you, there was nothing like, and I know there's a Giants show, but there was nothing like Madison Square Garden when the Knicks are good. There was not a better arena in the world. You go back, you watch game 1 against the Hawks last year. It was louder than it was for game 7. It's game whatever of the NBA Finals. Like it's just a different element when the Knicks are rocking, man. New York City loves the Knicks.
Yes.
Big Blue shirts, man. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Bad Dog, how about them Rangers 4-1-1 looking good?
I know. Big win over the Sens today. Yeah, they lost their first game, and then they lost in overtime, and they won 4 in a row. So, hey, listen, that's an our team. The Knicks and the Rangers are the ones with the brightest
future. Going back to the early 90s, Bad Dog.
It is really going back to the early 90s. It really is. It's amazing.
Rangers
have so much young talent. It's insane. They could be really good. They're going to have a good year. Never thought I'd be watching the Rangers or like more excited about the Rangers than the Giants, but I am.
Well, they both went to the finals in 93, 94. Hopefully
they did. They did. And it's stupid Olajuwon's fingertips. The only thing that kept the Knicks from winning in 94 because Starks' shot was going in. I'll go to my grave with that.
Matthew, man, thank you very much. Running the ball is your best chance, in my opinion. Good luck. I mean, Matthew, I agree. Problem is we can't run the football. And we got a quarterback who the Giants are probably still going to be somewhat reluctant to run the football with due to the fact that he suffered at least concussion syndromes. And, they don't want to risk further injury. So he's been our best running back. He's been the only running back who's averaged over like 3.7 yards a carry. And our offensive line's even more banged up for this game. So I think we're going to struggle running the ball. But I agree. If we could we say that every week. It's common sense. If you could run the ball, you look at the Cleveland Browns. You could run the ball. You could operate an offense. The New York Giants just haven't been able to do it at all this season.
Even when we're healthy, we can't do it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Last
year, they ran the ball effectively the second half of the season.
Yep. Once they got their groove, they started to run the ball fairly effectively. I think they had like 5 or 6 straight games where they had over 100 yards on the ground.
Yep.
Haven't sniffed that consistently this year. Jay Moda, man, thank you very much. I've been having nightmares all week of Hassan Reddick coming off the edge and strip sacking Jones. Hopefully, Parrott and Solder could do a serviceable job. Well,
I think Jones has had those same nightmares, buddy.
I mean, last year Reddick got what? He got 5 sacks against us with the Arizona Cardinals.
I think he forced 3 fumbles. It was something stupid.
I mean, who knows? You never know. I mean, they did perform much better than either one of us could have ever imagined against New Orleans. But of course, Andrew Thomas was in for that game. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm definitely worried about this offensive line going up against a really good pass rush of Carolina. And I've been having nightmares much like you. I'm going to go in expecting the worst and hoping for the best. And hopefully the New York Giants find a way to get a win. You're not going to see me flip out because I'm not expecting us to win this game. I'm not even expecting us, honestly. If I'm being honest, I'm not expecting us to keep this game very close. If I was going to bet this game, which I would never bet against my team, I would bet Carolina. I don't think 2.5 points is enough. I don't trust our offensive line going up against that defense. I don't care the injuries that Carolina has.
I saw a statistic the other day, and I think since 2017, the Giants have a 257 winning percentage at home. That is by far the worst in the NFL. It's not even close. I think the next lowest team was like 300. We win a quarter of our games at home in the last 4 years. It's embarrassing. It really is. It's gotten to a point where it's embarrassing being a Giant. It's tough. It's tough. And listen, I have a lot of guys that, grew up in the 70s that are a little older than me. They saw those awful Giants in the 70s, and they'll tell you this is worse than the 70s.
A lot of older Giants fans have told me they still think the 70s are worse. I don't know. I didn't grow up during that time, but what I can tell you, Bad Dog, is I can't imagine it being much worse than this. Like this is pretty freaking bad, man.
I do know in 76 they started off 0-9. I do know that.
Yeah. But it's been the same story with this team every year. Like
Maybe it was 75 they started off. One of those years they started off 0-9. And I think they got shut out in 4 straight games or something. I could be wrong about the year, but there was one year where they were like 0-9 and they got shut out 4 straight games. So,
I know.
That level yet.
I know it was really bad back then, but it's got to be at least close. I mean, it's got to be at least close. Bill, man, thank you very much. Let's be positive for a moment. Forget the first half of the year. What's your projection if all our players are available for the second half of the season? Well, Bill, I was actually just going to kind of shift to that because it's what the Giants do every single year, really since 2019. 2019, you go back, think Shermer's first year, or 2018 rather, Shermer's first year with the Giants. They looked a lot better in the second half of the season. 2019 was kind of a wash because you had a rookie quarterback. 2020, same thing last year. They looked much better over the second half of the season. But the issue that I have, Bill, even if that happens this year, say we split our last 8 games or even go 5-3, you're still looking at maybe 6-7 wins, and it's just the same thing over and over again. We always put ourselves in this hole. The New York Giants seem to start 0-2 every single year. Daniel Jones' rookie year, they started 0-2. Then I think they won their next 2 games, and then it was just a complete disaster after that. But it just seems like we always put ourselves in an 0-2 hole. It always seems we're no better than like 2-6 after 8 games, 1-7, 2-6 after 8 games. And the only reason why we had any kind of relevant second half last year in terms of important games was because the division was so horrible. But the Giants just keep doing this to themselves. But Bill, what I'll tell you is, yeah, I mean, when you look at the New York Giants second half of the schedule, would I be shocked if the Giants, if they got healthy, like you said in your super chat, won 5 out of 8 games? No, I wouldn't. Because 1, there's no pressure because the games don't mean anything. 2, we're playing a softer schedule. When you look at our schedule for our first 9 games in comparison to the last 8, you've got Miami, who just lost to the Jaguars. They're 1-5. You've got the Eagles twice. They're not great. You got Washington at home. The Bears, I still don't think are a great team. They'll have a rookie quarterback. So when you look at the second half of our schedule, we have some winnable opponents. So would I be shocked if we win, say, 4 or 5 out of our last 8? No, it's what we've done 2 out of the last 3 years. The problem is the games don't usually mean much.
The other problem is it doesn't seem to carry over into the next season. Man, I don't know why, because both times it fooled me. And especially last year, because again, they had the built-in excuses. Oh, no preseason.
Well, I think they were reasonable last year.
No, but I'm saying there was no preseason. He's got to learn a new system. There's this Saquon Barkley tore his ACL 6 quarters into the season. They had to get used to each other, blah, 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 blah. First 4 games like preseason, they stunk. Then 5-3, it seemed like they found it. Okay, they beat Seattle with their backup quarterback. They found a way to run the ball with Wayne Gallman. They did enough. Their defense played really well. And I know that you mentioned it's a great point that we played a lot of backup quarterbacks, but still, you thought that adding Adoree Jackson would make this defense even better. You thought that getting a healthy Barkley back and getting, I don't know how healthy Barkley was the entire year, but getting Barkley back in general, adding a Kenny Golladay, and then especially drafting a Kadarius Toney, you're thinking, wow, we are 5-3 the last 8 games without our best players and without a number 1 receiver, under a new coach, no time to learn the system in the preseason. Now you have the entire preseason games. You added a number 1 receiver. You got a veteran tight end. You got a number 2 cornerback. This team's going to be good. Nope. Fooled me.
Yeah, I think it fooled most Giant fans. I mean, I was always worried about the offensive line, but here's what I'll say, Baddog. If the defense,
they might be the only unit that's actually like overproduced.
Yeah, and it's still horrible, but it's just not as bad as I thought it would be. But because the run blocking is just dreadful.
Overachieved is what I should have said. They've overachieved compared to the rest of
what I will say, Baddog, is if the defense performed even close to what I think most Giant fans' expectations were, which is, let's just say they were even league average or close to top 10, which is what, I think that was like a conservative Giants fan would have told you that coming in, if they would have even performed close to that level. Because even if you want to say about the backup quarterbacks, you're still coming second year in the scheme, more familiarity. You're getting McKinney back, who barely played the year before. Yep. You're adding Azeez Ojulari. You added Adoree Jackson. So coming into the year, you had to think they'd be at least a top 12 to 15 defense, and even if
they'd be even better. I'm
saying that at worst, probably you would have thought that, and they're not even matching that. And I even said this with Authentic the other day when he was on my channel. I think James Betcher, you can make an argument, did a better job in his second year with the New York Giants than Patrick Graham has. That's how bad Patrick Graham has been when you factor in the added talent he has. Look at the talent on this roster compared to the talent that James Bettcher had. And the fact that this defense is underperforming as much as it is, I think it's even worse, the job that Patrick Graham is doing this year, and that's hard to do. We all hated James Bettcher. It's even worse, the job he's doing.
Good old honey ham head. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, when I watch Patrick Graham's scheme, I keep saying, is that James Bettcher? Because Betcher's soft zone used to kill me. Why are we playing soft zone on 3rd and 2? Why is it so easy for teams to just drop back and throw a 7-yard slant to guys wide open? Why? We can't do that. We never can do that. Why can't we do that? They're always open. Open on the flat, 15 yards. 3rd down and 4, wide open on the slant, 8 yards. Wide open on an out route, 10 yards. Why? What the hell kind of defense are we playing? It's not working at all. So why don't we do something different? I don't understand why they don't change things. Why don't they blitz more? Why don't they play some man coverage? You have nothing to lose? You can't be worse. You're 1-5. Why are we continuing to do the same thing? It's not working. Hello, McFly. Anybody home? No work.
And Adam, man, thank you very much. I've started drinking already, so I'm buzzed at kickoff to ease the pain. Adam, that's a pretty good idea, my man. I'm not going to drink the liquor like I did last game because I did get a little tipsy during the game. So I'll go back.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it does. But Adam, man, you do you, man. Get yourself ready for the game because you're probably going to need it. Ninja, man, thank you very much. If Gettleman drafts a quarterback like Matt Corral or Spencer Rattler, I think you meant to say, would it be a disappointing draft pick? I mean, that's impossible for me to say. One, I don't think Spencer Rattler's coming out this year. Maybe Baddog has a better idea of that being.
Oh, I have a really good idea about Spencer Rattler. Trust me. He ain't coming out.
I doubt he's coming out. I mean, it would be stupid for him to come out this year.
He's not coming out. He got benched. He's done.
Yeah,
he's not coming out. He's going to transfer someplace. I'm thinking that he might go to Ole Miss. Corral will come out, but I think that Rattler may go to Ole Miss. He will not be at Oklahoma next year because Caleb Williams has already proven that he's going to be the guy. He's a true freshman, and he took over the job from Spencer Rattler. Oklahoma, I tell you what, they pissed me off today. They got me drinking. Oklahoma got me drinking today.
They were killing today. They were up by 30 points against Indiana, I saw, right?
Who?
Oklahoma.
No, Oklahoma was losing to Kansas 10-0.
Oh, I was thinking of somebody else. My mistake.
Yeah, they were down 17-7 in the 3rd quarter to freaking Kansas of all teams.
Oh,
and they needed a miracle to win. I'll tell you, one of the most heads-up plays I've ever seen in my life. Oklahoma is up. I think they're up 28-23. It's late in the 4th quarter. They have the ball around midfield. 4th and 1, they go for it. Kennedy Brooks gets stuffed. He's getting pushed backwards, and Caleb Williams, the quarterback, goes up to Brooks and rips the ball out of Brooks's hands and gets the first down. Brooks was stopped getting pushed back, didn't blow a whistle, and Caleb Williams ran and grabbed it out of his hands so we get the first down. They had to review it. They said, what is it? What the hell was that? What is that? Is that an illegal forward pass? No, because they were behind the line of scrimmage. So it was not an illegal forward pass or an illegal forward lateral. That was one of the most heads-up plays I've ever seen in my life, and that's from a true freshman. So that tells you what kind of brain that kid has. That's impressive. That intangible type of thing you cannot teach. Rattler will not be in the NFL next year. No, he's got to go somewhere else to prove he can play in the NFL.
Yeah, and maybe Ninja was just trying to say if we just take a quarterback in general and he was just listing off some of the top ones, will it be a disappointing pick? Ninja, what I'll tell you is this.
Everyone wants Malik Willis.
Yeah, Malik Willis, whoever it may be. I'm going to let the GM do what he decides that he wants to do. I'm going to give him that free rein. He's a paid professional, and if he feels that one of these quarterbacks could be a top 5 guy, I don't want a potential top 10 guy. If you're gonna invest that high of a pick, if they feel he could be an elite quarterback, I'm gonna let that GM prove whether or not he can be if he decides to draft him. Would I draft a quarterback? No, unless I felt like one of those guys were elite, because there are way too many holes in this boat. Yep. This team needs a lot of fixing, and I think any quarterback that we draft outside of a guy like a Justin Herbert is going to come in here and struggle immensely, especially in their rookie season, and then you're starting to waste that rookie window. So if it was me, I would use these early first-round picks to try to fill in the offensive line, the pass rusher, things of that nature, to try to better situate this team going forward. And if Jones does not progress, then I would go out and get my quarterback.
I completely agree. The trenches have been our big problem. And again, that's your foundation. That's the foundation of your house. Weak foundation, weak house. Doesn't matter how nice it looks above ground. You look at the pieces that we have, You look at the Kenny Galladay's and the Saquon Barkleys and the James Bradburys and the Azeez Ojulari's, and you look at that, and again, they haven't really played well, but you look at those pieces and you're saying, wow, this team looks really good, but your foundation's weak. The team's weak. The house crumbles. That's what happened to the Giants. We can't run the ball. The offensive line has done better than we expected, but that's not saying much because we expect them to be one of the worst in the NFL.
And they're still one of the worst.
Exactly. Defensive line is terrible. The secondary, which I was extremely excited about, has been the biggest disappointment to me this season. How piss poor they've been. I mean, they have looked lost in coverage. I've seen blown coverages, terrible tackling. It's just been a bad team effort. And again, I think that's why I've been so critical of Joe Judge this year, because, I feel like all the missed tackles, and I just feel like a lot of this stuff is on him. But where else are you going to blame? You can't get rid of all the players. I actually said to me, because I did a video last year, I said Joe Judge deserves Coach of the Year consideration. The guy goes, this aged poorly. I always love those comments. Oh, I'm going to I had a guy go back 4 years to go, this age. Like, what do you guys do all day? But no, after that game, they had won 4 in a row. They were 5-7, beating Seattle, and Seattle with a backup quarterback. I didn't say he should win it. I said, but God, he's done a great job. But it just shows you how much things change from year to year, man. It just does.
And there's still 11 games left. They could even change from within this year. If the team starts to play better and Judge looks like he's growing as a coach, the fan base may feel completely differently about him over the last 11 games.
If this team finds a way to turn anything around this year, Kristen, we're gonna have to look at Joe Judge differently. I definitely will, because I don't see where this team turns it around this year. Unfortunately,
It's gonna be tough. And Alexa, thank you so much. What should we do before the trade deadline? And that is a great question. And I think the trade deadline, we looked this up last week. I don't think there's any more games before the trade deadline. I think this is the last game before the trade deadline.
I think, week 7.
Let me just double check real quick. NFL. What's today's date, Baddog?
October 24th. No, I'm sorry, 23rd. 23rd.
So the NFL trade deadline is November 2nd. So they actually will have one more game. They will have one more game. So one more game after this one, and then you have the trade deadline. And again, it's kind of a really weird spot, Baddog, where our GM pretty much knows he's not going to be the GM going forward. But, maybe the Giants do have a plan where they're going to hire in-house, and one of the guys that are currently on this team will be the GM next year. We don't know, or maybe they're going to go with an outsider. But it's kind of a very weird situation because I think Gettleman knows he sees the writing on the wall. But what I would do if I was the New York Giants GM right now, I'd be shopping guys that I knew weren't going to be part of the long-term of this team, the long-term future of this team that could get me any relevant trade value. Obviously, Ingram probably not going to be back. Definitely will not be back with this team next year. I guess it would depend on what kind of compact that you would receive for him. But yeah, Ingram's definitely a guy that I would shop. Jabril Peppers definitely a guy that I would shop. I've even mentioned James Bradbury is a guy that I would shop. He's only got 1 year left on that contract, and he's making a lot of money next year. So those are some players that I would definitely look to trade. I've seen people bring up Saquon Barkley. Not happening. The guy's hurt. So no, you're not going to get anything for him right now. But yes, any player that I thought was not going to be part of the long-term piece on this football team, which is a lot of players on this team that are not like on rookie salaries, guys that are making money that I could try to shed off the cap, I would look to trade those guys right now.
Oh, without a doubt. I'll be honest, Chris. I think everybody's expendable. Yeah, I think everybody on this team. I would not keep one person. I know people, like I said, when I did the video, and I've done a couple of these where I ask, who would you build around? I mean, that's why I get concerned about where we are as a unit, because who are you building around? And people told me Kadarius Toney, and I'm like, well, this is how far we've fallen. Now we're talking about
we're building around
a wide receiver that's played 2 good games his entire career, and now he's hurt. But that's the fact. There really isn't a guy that I look at on this team and go, yes, he is the future.
Andrew Thomas, if he could stay healthy, would be my guy. But he's hurt.
That's a huge if. Can he stay healthy?
Yeah, it's a huge if.
He's a really good when he's been healthy. And this is why this sucks, because he was really progressing very nicely. And that is such an important position on that offensive line. And he had the foot problem last year. Now he has a foot problem this year. Is this going to linger his entire career? Yeah. And we see Saquon Barkley cannot stay healthy. It looks like Kadarius Toney's going to have these injury problems. Odell Beckham could not stay healthy. we had a lot of problems. I don't know what the hell the deal is. Kenny Golladay cannot stay healthy. Evan Ingham cannot stay healthy. Sterling Shepard cannot stay healthy.
Some people point to the turf. Do you think that has anything to do
I
with it?
know it's the turf. I guarantee you that's a huge part of it. The Giants got to get rid of that shit. Go back to natural grass, please.
Yeah.
Well, not go back. They never had natural grass.
Change the turf because that's been a storyline for like 2 or 3 years with the Giants.
It's freaking terrible. As the Jets play on that crap too. They got the same kind of crap going on.
Yeah, and obviously not all the injuries are because of the turf. We got a lot of injuries in Dallas, right? So, but
that's bad turf, though. That's bad turf.
Yeah, but yeah, the Giants have just been killed with injuries. Yuri, man, thank you very much. Panthers O-line stinks, but we can't rush the damn passer. Like Baddog says, Sam Darnold stinks. Sam Darnold's not good. Sam Darnold looked good the first 3 games. They played a really soft schedule. When you look at the Panthers schedule, they beat the Jets, the Texans, and the Saints the first 3 games, and now they have not looked nearly as good since. Of course, McCaffrey going down had a lot to do with that, but in terms of probably the way that Darnold's looked. But yeah, when Darnold has shown that he doesn't have a full arsenal of weapons and he's not going up against very weak opponents, he's not looked good. He's definitely a guy that's prone to making turnovers. Obviously, you got to worry about his legs a little bit. He's been really good in that department this year. But yeah, I definitely think we could force turnovers against Darnold. But I say that every week with this defense. They haven't found a way to be able to do it. But their offensive line is not good. I do think our defensive line could get some interior pressure. Yeah. But we'll see, Yuri, man. Thanks so much for being here, buddy.
Yeah, we just got it. I mean, Sam Darnold does have, he is prone to turnovers. So is Jameis Winston. I think we got one. Oh, no, we didn't even get one off him. We got it off Taysom Hill. The Giants, listen, at the end of the day, these guys got to make plays. When interceptions are there to be had, they got to complete the interception. We've seen a couple of drops this year. Got to find a way to we got to change the defensive scheme. I mean, you got to do something different. It's not worked. You're 1-5, and you're one of the worst defenses in the league. Do something different. Do something different. If you blitz and Sam Darnold kills you, oh well. I would rather be aggressive and have the guy have to make a quick decision and beat us, and you tip your cap and say, okay, like what they do with Bridgewater. When we blitzed Bridgewater, he made a hell of a play.
Made a bunch of plays in that game.
He made a really good play. Instead of having the guy just sit back there. No pressure all day in the pocket up. There we go. 15 yards down the field, wide open guy. I'd rather just take a chance and try to force turnovers. Be aggressive on defense.
Yeah, for sure, man. At this, like we said at the top of the stream, there's nothing to lose either. Play like it. Be aggressive, man. Take some chances. I'm with you, man. Canody, man, thank you so much, man, for being such a great supporter on the channel. Really appreciate you for popping in. Hey, guys, bought my niece an Eli jersey at the start of the season for her birthday this past week. First thing I'll say is you can't go wrong with an Eli jersey. He can't or is a fan, and he's definitely he's on the Mount Rushmore of the New York Giants. So that's a good jersey to have. She wore it to school, and one of her friends called the Giants trash. Hated the Giants from 11-year-olds. Thanks for the great content. There's no doubt about it, Canody. The fact of the matter is, and we have to accept this as fans, and listen, I love the New York Giants with every fiber of my being. I never like to destroy this organization. It's a major reason why I'm not making a ton of videos right now, because if I did make a video every day, I'd be ripping them limb from limb from limb. And I just personally don't like to do that. But you know what? As fans right now, we have to admit what the New York Giants are. And right now, the New York Giants over the last 10 years have been what the Cleveland Browns have been throughout the entirety of their history. They've been what the Detroit Lions have been throughout the majority of their history. The Jacksonville Jaguars. We are the bottom of the barrel. Yep. I go back to the red zone. I want to talk about that. Going into the year, Baddog, I thought that there was no way that the New York Giants were going to have a worse red zone offense than last year. If there was one area on this team that I said they have to improve, they were 31st the year before. They're 32nd. They're only scoring a touchdown 41% of the time, and they're only putting on points on the board 77% of the time. 23% of the time they get inside the 20, they're not scoring. There are 3 teams in the NFL that score a touchdown at a higher rate than 77%. The New York Giants only score 77% of the time, and they only score a touchdown 41% of the time. Last year, they scored 46% of the time, so they've gotten worse. And that's with the additions of Kyle Rudolph. That's with the addition of Kenny Golladay. That's with the addition of getting Saquon Barkley back, with the addition of Kadarius Toney, and some of that falls on Jones, some of that falls on the injuries, and some of that definitely falls on Jason Garrett. But this team has just been a complete disaster, and as fans, you got to look yourself in the mirror, and you got to be honest with yourself. This has been the bottom of the barrel over the last 10 years. There has not been a worse organization than the New York Giants, and if there has been, you have to look really, really hard.
Yeah, well, first things first, I have no problem making videos and ripping the New York Giants. For me, it's cathartic. I'm a guy that likes to get my feelings out in the open. That's cathartic for me. That makes me feel good. I like to have that emotional release, whether that's me screaming, whether that's me laughing, whether
Well, I
that's me
scream. It's
crying,
just not on
whatever
video.
it is. I don't mind doing that at
Yeah.
all, especially in the post game. Like I always feel like I need that. But yeah, as far as the red zone offense goes, Chris, it's just funny. I feel like last year when the Giants were going through that good stretch, and I think this happens when you are playing good football. It seemed like they enjoyed playing football. It seemed like they enjoyed one another. It seemed like they were playing together as a team. It was almost like they looked at themselves as kind of like, yo, we're the underdogs, we're the cast-offs. You had the Wayne Gallmans out there. Darius Slayton was having a terrible year. I mean, Sterling Shepard was there, but there really wasn't. We were throwing to Austin Mack. We didn't have a lot going on offense, and yet they found a way to win. And I felt like they played much better as a team. And this year, it just doesn't seem like they're playing like a team. It seems like they're playing as individuals, and it seems like they're not on the same page. They don't like playing with one another. They're not. And again, when you're losing, it's hard to enjoy yourself. When you're getting your brains beat in every week, it's hard to enjoy yourself. I understand, but I feel like this team just doesn't play together. And I feel like there's no chemistry at all. I don't know how much they like each other. Like that's another thing. They talk about all this culture. And what is it like in the locker room? These are things we have no idea. We don't know what goes on in there. We don't know if these players actually do enjoy playing for Joe Judge or playing for one another or whatever. We don't know if they're there just to collect a check, because sometimes it seems like it was. When they gave up that touchdown to Cooper Kupp, and they didn't even try.
I was going to say that.
They didn't even try, Chris. They let him walk into the end zone.
I could say a lot of things about Joe Judge since he's been here, this year in particular, where I've been disappointed with some of the decisions he's made as a coach. Last year, there were reasons to quit for this team. They started off as poorly as they did. They never quit for him. They gave everything they had every game last year. They definitely did. This year, they did as well. I even said it. I even commended them in that Cowboys game with all the injuries. They fought until the very end. They gave it everything they had. They just didn't match up with all the injuries going up against a much better team. This past week, that was the first time since Joe Judge has been the head coach that I felt at the end of the game they didn't play 60 minutes. And even Joe Judge came out and said it. And you saw it in that game for probably the last 10 to 12 minutes. That defense quit. They gave up. And that is not a good sign for the head coach. Because you still got another 11 games to play, Baddog.
Why is it always against the Rams?
What is that?
Why is it always against the Rams?
Yeah.
the Rams and Giants head coaching tenures. Luckily, I don't think Shermer had to play the Rams. Oh, yes, he did. No, we played the Rams last year. We actually
played the Rams last year with Judge.
We actually played them tough last year.
Yeah, we did.
They were not a good team last year. They had Jared Goff. It's a big difference. But and of course, McVay always has a grudge when he plays against the Giants because they fired his grandfather. You think he'd get over that? Firings happen in the NFL. You think he'd get over that? But listen, the Rams are just a good team. We could use a guy like Sean McVay as our head coach, an innovative head coach, an Eric Bieniemy, a Joe Brady, it's something different. I don't know what it is. Part of the reason I like the Joe Judge hiring was because I did think that they went outside of the box. They did hire a younger guy, but his football philosophy, and I love that old school philosophy, but you know what? That doesn't work. That doesn't work in today.
It works if you have the right personnel. The Giants don't have the right personnel. You can't play smash mouth football when you can't block.
Yeah, right? That's a fact. It's a fact.
You can't run the football when you can't run block. So,
well, listen, he said we were going to punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. I mean, Kadarius Toney punched a guy in the head, and he got pissed off and kicked him out. What do you want, Joe? You got one guy take what you said literally.
Tyler, man,
wait. I got to go back and look at the tape, Chris. Sorry.
Oh, God. We've heard that, by the way, and I'm sure everybody in the chat feels the same way. Our last three coaches during their press conference, I could recite it for you. Hey, Joe, what did you think about that play that Daniel Jones made on 3rd and 8? Well, you know what? We're going to look at the tape. We'll get back to you on that. Hey, Ben McAdoo, what did you think of the play there where Eli was able to spring a big play there on 3rd and 12? I'm going to go look at the tape. I'll get back to you. Hey, Pat, how'd you feel when Daniel Jones had the game-winning touchdown against Tampa Bay? I'm going to go look at the tape. I'm going to get back to you. You know what they should do, Bad Dog? I'm going to tell you right now what they should do to Joe Judge. Next time they have one of these press conferences, Joe, I asked you last week how you felt about the play against the LA Rams. Now that you've looked at the tape, Joe, what did you think of that play, Joe? That's what they should do. Because then he can't use the tape excuse anymore.
He deflects. And that's why I made the video about Joe Judge, because I'm like, what the hell is this, Joe? I thought you're going to be up front. Why can't he just come out and go, we suck? Why really? Yeah. I got to do better. Why can't he just come out and go, Jim Mora did it. Jim Mora did. We sucked. We sucked. We couldn't do diddly poo on offense. We suck. Why can't he give us a soundbite? We may not like the result as fans, but we'll respect you for being honest. Why can't he just come out? Why can't any coach just come out and go, listen, we were terrible. It's not good enough. That performance is unacceptable. It starts with me as the head coach. I have to be accountable for these guys. I have to do a better job of game planning. I have to do a better job of getting these guys prepared. Our coordinators got to do a better job of getting these guys prepared. And each one of those players in the locker room needs to take accountability, and they all need to do their job. But that starts with me. Why can't he say that?
He doesn't want to give much to the media. That's the only thing I can say, but I'm with you, man.
But the media would like that because the media would have no response. They'd be like, holy cow, what did he just say? Well, I don't have it. Wow, we answered the question. I don't know what to do.
Tyler, man, thank you very much. Says, Baddog, your Sooners almost lost me money.
Well, you must have taken them on the money line, and you didn't win a lot anyway. They were favored by 38.5. So if you bet the Sooners, you lost.
Oh, okay, yeah. And
they were favored by 30. They lost me money.
Maybe use the teaser or some of some kind.
They only won by 12. They were favored.
Oh,
by
wow.
I picked them. I thought the Sooners would win like fifth. Kansas is like ranked 145th in the country in defense. I'm thinking Caleb Williams. I'm thinking, hey, Oklahoma should score 59, 62 today. They cover. Nope. By the way, Alabama came back to cover for me. That looked bad. They were down. They were favored by 25.5. I was 24-17 third. They're going to win 52-24. Thank you, Crimson Tide. Roll Tide.
There you go. One today. Gonna read a couple of these here because they fell behind on the StreamYard, but I got them here. Easy does it, man. Thank you so much, man. We need to restructure from top to bottom. Yeah, I mean, before I say this, I'm going to let you guys know I am completely entitled to change my opinion as the season goes along. So if the Giants look completely different in the next 4 or 5 weeks, I may change my opinion. But Easy does it right now, especially in football, Baddog, when game to game it means so much more than any other sport. So I'm just letting you guys know that right now I'm entitled to change my opinion. But right now, today, Easy does it. I'm with you. Right now, the way that this team has looked, I am completely open to completely blowing it up at season's end if things don't dramatically improve. And I'm not typically a guy that likes to do that. But right now, today, the way this team has looked, and I'm not going to use injuries as an excuse, Baddog, because here's what I'll say. Ben McAdoo, and Authentic and myself talked about this as well. Ben McAdoo is second year, and I was glad when they moved on from Ben McAdoo because the way he handled a lot of things and how the team fell on their face, so on and so forth. That team had more injuries than this team could ever dream of. That team went 3-13. They moved on real quick. Yep. A year after, before when he went 11-5. So I'm not using injuries as an excuse. And if this team wins 3 or 4 games, I'm completely open to starting from scratch for sure. Easy does it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, listen, Ben McAdoo. I mean, I was talking about this with a guy at work. I'm not going to be as hard on Ben McAdoo as everybody else. Ben McAdoo, to me, just not a good head coach. Okay, some guys are not good leaders of men.
Like Shermer, same thing.
McAdoo lost a locker room, but he was a damn good offensive coordinator. Okay, Ben McAdoo was where this is where this whole thing began. Ben McAdoo said in 2017, I want to trade up. I want Mahomes or I want Deshaun Watson. That was what McAdoo wanted. Did not want Eli anymore. Figured Eli after 2016, he said, Eli's done. He did not have a great year in 2016. Said, I want a new quarterback. I want Mahomes or Watson. Front office told him, no, we're not doing that. You're not getting rid of Eli. We're not drafting this. They all got hurt. They were a bad team. McAdoo knew he was fired. So on the way out, McAdoo said, you know what? Here's my FU to you. I'm benching Eli Manning. That was McAdoo's parting gift to the New York Giants front office. You don't want to give me what I want? I'm going to do that to you. That's exactly what he did. That's why McAdoo did that. There was no other reason.
It was an ego.
Was mad. He handled it poorly. But then everything McAdoo said about what the Giants' problems were when he was fired, he was spot on. He was exactly right.
I agree with that.
Everything he said.
The owner has too much power in the organization. I agree with that.
He nailed it. I mean, you don't need to like McAdoo, but what he said was fact, and you can see it because we have been terrible since he left. We have not gotten better. It wasn't McAdoo. It wasn't Shermer. Probably isn't Joe Judge. It's the owner, and it really is.
And Brett, man, thank you very much. He says, Graham has got to trust our corners. Blitz Darnold with one high safety and force him into mistakes. We haven't been able to get pressure with 4 to send 6 and let the people we pay earn their money. Brett, you hit it on the head, man. You know, what was the reason to go out there and sign Adoree Jackson to $13 million a year? What was the reason to sign James Bradbury to $15, $16 million a year, whatever we're paying him, if we were not going to be more aggressive on defense? My line of thinking when we signed Adoree Jackson, I was excited because I said to myself, okay, you know, and like you said, spent money on Logan Ryan. You know, we have supposedly a very strong secondary. I said, okay, this is now going to allow the New York Giants to be a lot more aggressive this year, send more blitzes. And I'm with you, man. I want to be more aggressive throughout the rest of the year. If we get burnt in coverage, we get burnt in coverage. We're not getting pressure on the quarterback. And unless we get pressure on the quarterback, it's not going to matter. We're not going to be able to force turnovers. And this team's not winning games if we're not going to create turnovers. So, Brett, I think you hit it on the head. We got to go out swinging on both sides of the ball. You got to take shots on defense. We have to play like we have nothing to lose because we don't. We're 1-5. Take some shots, man. I'm with you, man. Blitz the quarterback.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. There's no reason not to. What are you going to do? Go 1-6?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
If we get burnt for 400 yards through the air and we can't get pressure on the quarterback, we do it. But we have to take some shots in this game defensively.
Yeah, and offensively.
Both offensively is going to be tough because I don't think we can block. Christian, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, let's not forget Daniel Jones with 10 touchdowns in 2020. Yeah,
11.
I mean,
he had 11 touchdowns, but
yeah, either way, it was bad.
Good.
A lot of me does think that it was influenced by Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. I think they were intentionally incredibly conservative. But again, I'm not going to excuse Daniel Jones. He had a very bad year, his second year, and this year it's not doing great. I mean, he got up to a good start, but last week was atrocious. Again, Daniel Jones in a really bad spot. I'm going to continue to say that. But he's not making the situation a whole lot better. I'll say that to make the people happy that hate Daniel Jones. But I don't think he was ever going to succeed here unless they fix this football team, which they're nowhere near to doing right now.
Well, the problem with Daniel Jones is, he has these drives where he looks unbelievable, and then he has these drives where it's like, what are you doing? The game against the Rams, people want to blame it on injuries. Listen, he made bad decisions. Injuries,
yeah, he did.
He made bad throws. I mean, I get it. Some people want to protect the players. Some people just, that's the way they are. That's fine. But at the end of the day, man, he made bad decisions, and bad decisions will kill you. He made some really bad throws that were nowhere as close to being complete. He misread a lot of defenses, and he regressed in that game. Does that mean that he'll come out and do the same thing against Carolina? Absolutely not. That doesn't mean he's going to play a bad game against Carolina. But it doesn't mean that he'll play a great game either. We'll have to see what he does, but it doesn't mean that his game against Los Angeles was not poor. And his game against Dallas started off very poor. He missed his first 6 minutes. Yeah. So this is the problem. Daniel Jones has shown that he can be really good, but he's also shown that he can be really bad. And to me, that's not what a franchise quarterback gives you. I said after the New Orleans game, when I did the video that says, is this a fluke, that I wanted to see more consistency. That's all I've asked from Daniel Jones. I don't expect him to have a game like he did against New Orleans every week. I don't expect that, but I do expect him to make better decisions and to protect the football, which he's done a lot better this year. But that game against the Rams was not good. I mean, he turned it over 4 times, and I think he fumbled it twice in that game.
And he should have had another throw that should have been picked, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. He definitely threw a pass in the Dallas game that should have been intercepted. And, I just want consistency from Daniel Jones. If that's 250 yards at a touchdown and 62% completion percentage, and that's what he does most of the time, I can live with that. But it's difficult to see a guy that has a game where he rushes for 84 yards and throws for 272 and has 2 or 3 total touchdowns. And the next game, he's 11 for 32 with 3 interceptions, and they were bad interceptions. Eli Manning would have a lot of passes tipped and bad luck. Yeah. Daniel Jones just once in a while just makes really bad throws. I don't know. Yeah. This is his 3rd year. I don't know what the excuse is anymore for this stuff.
Last game, and I want to get to some of these, but last game, Jones, to me, he looked like he did last year at times, where I really do feel this way. And I think we talked about this a lot in the offseason. Jones, there are times where I feel like he thinks he has no help, and he has to play like he's Superman. And he has to be mature enough as a quarterback at this point in time to know you can't attempt those throws. The second he threw that ball on 2 of those picks, you knew it was an interception. There was no chance of it being completed. And I think he tries to play like Superman, when sometimes you have to realize, listen, I don't have a whole lot of help, but I'm doing even more damage to my team if I try to make plays like that that are impossible to complete. He made a lot of really bad decisions in that game. Not going to use the blocking as an excuse. There were times where he had enough time and he tried to force balls into windows that the window was closed. There was no window.
It was never open.
The window was never open. So he's got to do much better. The one thing I will say, it was really the first game where I saw him play horrible. The Cowboys game, like you said, he started really bad. Then he had that really good drive, the drive in which they scored the touchdown, and who knows how the rest of that game would have played out. He had 2 pretty good games and 2 great games to start the year. Let's hope that he bounces back off of this and gives us another run of 3 or 4 good, okay to great games. And maybe he does start to show some consistency, but obviously leaves a sour taste in your mouth after that game.
Definitely.
And Rizzo, thank you very much. We can be patient if the rebuild is done the right way. Yeah, I mean, Rizzo, man, I don't think Giants fans have any choice but to be patient at this point in time. And I think they realize that, if I'm being honest, Rizzo. I'm not all. There's definitely some New York fans that are going to expect this team to win next year, even if we are rebuilding. But I think the vast majority, like you said, if they feel like things are being done the right way, they're willing to be patient because they realize if it's being done the right way, when we get there, we're going to have 5, 6, 7 years of competitive football. So I'm with you, man. I do think the majority of people, if they feel like the team's doing it the right way, which for me and the right way for everybody, that's the thing, Rizzo. That's what makes it so tough. I think the right thing, it's subjective. Like it's on an individual basis. Like, I don't know, Roldy, for example, may feel the right way is completely different than Rizzo. Baddog may feel the right way is completely different than me. For me, the right way is to build up in the trenches. Everything starts there. Fix the line before you worry about anything else. I mean, obviously, you want to worry about other things, but that should be the primary objective because that's going to make everybody's job easier going forward. They need to set the foundation. If they start to do that, I'll be encouraged that this team is starting to build the right way personally, but they need to pay heavy emphasis on that and the edge rusher as well.
Yep, I agree. I think foundation is one of the trenches. No matter how many times the rules change or how much this game progresses, that's always where the game's won and lost, is in there. And we lose on both sides of the ball every week. That's why we're not a good team. It starts there. And if you don't get a start, you're never going to get a finish. We don't play well on either side of the ball there. We get pushed around in defense. Teams are able to run the ball down our throat. We can't run the ball to save our life.
It's been the same story for 10 years, man, though. It
really
feels like a broken record, but I'm going to keep saying it until they fix it.
Yeah.
Pete, man, thank you so much for the incredible generosity. Sorry I can't blow it up. It's just behind on the Super Chats on StreamYard, man. You're the freaking man. Thank you for always tuning into streams and showing support. He says, and he went to the game last week, so that was tough, man. He says, being patient with another rebuild doesn't bother me if you prioritize talent acquisition through the draft. And unfortunately, you can't focus on winning and draft talent at the same time. The draft favors losing. Bad Dog's Cardinals point is right. Yeah, I mean, I agree that Bad Dog's Cardinal point is right, and they turned it over real quick. The one thing I will say, Bad Dog, is there a Kyler Murray in this draft?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not just Kyler. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, no. They realized they were doing it wrong, and you're absolutely right. That was a brilliant decision by the Arizona Cardinals.
Right. The other thing is, I mean, again, there was no Murray, and Daniel Jones had a much better rookie season than Josh Rosen. I understand that.
Yeah.
We were not good that year either. Well, we won 5 games. We were 5-11.
I think we won 4
we were 4-12, right? We were 4-12. Yeah. So all those people that say they wanted Justin Herbert. Now, if we really thought about it, the Giants really could have said, "Screw this, we're taking Justin Herbert." They really could have done that. It would have been much more difficult because Jones did not have 12 touchdowns, 19 interceptions like Josh Rosen did. But I'm just saying, my point is the Cardinals said it was a mistake. We're wiping it clean immediately.
Yeah, they could have. I can't blame, even though I honestly thought that Jones's year was a bit fluky. When I went back and watched a lot of the games, I thought he should have had at least 18, 19 picks that were dropped. I still couldn't rationalize moving on from Daniel Jones that quickly because he did have moments where he looked really good. Yep. Obviously, hindsight 2020, 2 years later, yeah, fans will say that, but in the moment, I can't get on the Giants for not. I cannot get on the Giants for electing not to do that. But as far as the Cardinals method, yeah, I mean, yes, you're absolutely right. Peter, they realized they were doing things the wrong way. They quickly changed course, and it worked out beautifully. And yes, things could turn around in the NFL real quick. But like I said earlier, I think the way that it turns around super quick is if you find that elite quarterback. And I don't think they're going to find an elite quarterback in this year's draft. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Malik Willis will be the greatest quarterback of all time if they elect to go that route. But I think most people would agree that there's probably not, at least the experts would agree, that there's probably not a Kyler Murray in this draft, that there's probably not a Justin Herbert in this draft. And when you find those types of quarterbacks, yeah, they could flip the franchise real quick. The question is, are the Giants going to be able to find a quarterback of that caliber? But regardless, I do think, Peter, like I said with RZA Super Chat, if we do the rebuild the right way, I do think fans will be patient if they feel like it's trending down the right path.
Yeah, there's definitely no Kyler Murray in this draft. Kyler Murray's a different animal. The guy can play. The guy's special. I knew that immediately. I'm pretty good at nailing Oklahoma quarterbacks. Don't always know the rest of them, but that class of quarterbacks I'm usually pretty good at. One thing I'll say too about Baker Mayfield real quick, he should hang it up this year. He needs shoulder surgery. He's got like a broken bone in his shoulder. The dude's talking about playing. All I could ever think to myself is people don't need to like Baker Mayfield, but the guy's got heart. And if the Giants just played with half the freaking heart that Baker Mayfield shows, they'd be a good team. Like, I swear to God, they just don't. It's hard to explain, man, because I don't know what the hell they're thinking when they're out there. I don't know, but it's not good either way. If it looks like you're half-assing it, even if you're I think it looks worse. I think it's worse if you're giving 100%. It looks like you're half-assing it, as opposed to half-assing. So this team just, I don't know, man. There's no leadership anywhere. Yeah. Who is the offensive leader? Who's the guy in offense that's the leader of that team?
We don't have leaders on this team right now.
No leader.
We don't have leaders on this team right now. Jashawn Robinson, thank you very much. I don't care what anyone says. If we do anything but get offensive linemen, it doesn't matter who else you bring in. It goes for coach, GM, running back, or goddamn Aaron Rodgers. Listen, do I think there are some quarterbacks who could overcome it? Sure. But regardless, I think the team goal, Bad Dog, should always be, and most quarterbacks cannot, okay? Maybe Aaron Rodgers can, and maybe there's a handful that can, step in as a rookie, as first, second, third-year player, and look really good with a really bad situation. But that should not be the goal as an organization. I think that's kind of putting the cart before the horse. I think every organization's goal, if I was a GM, my goal would always be to fix the team around the quarterback, to fix the team around the wide receiver, the running back, before I really started to try to look for long-term pieces at those positions. Unless, of course, there's a transcendent talent. You never pass up a transcendent talent at the quarterback position. I would never tell anybody to do that. But if there's not, you don't just take a really good quarterback prospect and put him in a hell situation. If you do that, you're setting them up for failure. So that's at least my philosophy. That will always be my philosophy. If I was a general manager, that is the way that I would think. So I'm with you. I think the New York Giants need to fix these trenches. And even though edge rusher to me is such a huge significant importance right now, you can't do anything in the NFL, especially in today's NFL, if you don't have good quarterback play. And I don't think we're going to have good quarterback play, whether it's Jones or whether it's the future quarterback, until we fix the offensive line, which is why I really want to hit home with that this offseason when they have the opportunity with these high draft picks.
I was really surprised they did not go that route last year. I really thought for sure they were taking Rashawn Slater. I really thought that was the deal. You look at what Cleveland did too. I mean, they went out, they got Conklin, they drafted Wills. I mean, they fixed their line in a year's time. The Chiefs aren't really great, but their line got a lot better too than it was last year. There's just teams that seem like they can fix it in 1 year. And Gettleman's been here now 4 years, and we still haven't fixed this damn thing.
And the 6 years before that, we didn't fix it.
It's just been
since
bad.
We lost the Golden Age guys, the Deals, the O'Haras, the Snees, the McKenzies. Since we lost those guys, we haven't had a line.
Right. And you mentioned the quarterbacks. There's not a lot of Aaron Rodgers around. There's not a lot of Kyler Murrays around. There's not a lot of these guys that can, Russell Wilsons. They're rare.
And you don't know if they'd be those guys here.
But I'm just saying, these are cream of the crop guys that can succeed without the best offensive line. Okay. Yeah. Daniel Jones isn't that guy. Daniel Jones is a guy that needs it. As good as Dak Prescott has been this year, and Dak Prescott is way better than I thought he'd be, he would not be that good here because he needs that talent. He would be better than Daniel Jones, in my opinion, here, but he would not be nearly as good here as he is with Dallas. He would just be an average quarterback, if not below average, because I feel like Dak is a guy that succeeds because he has so much around. If Daniel Jones is on Dallas, or if Daniel Jones does go somewhere else, because if the Giants move on from him, he will get a job somewhere else. And then he's put in a better situation. He'll be better than he is here. And then Giants fans are like, why the hell did we give him a chance? Because there's just some quarterbacks that are good when everything is right. Well, nothing is right here. So Daniel Jones is going to struggle here. And to Chris's point, if you don't draft a quarterback that doesn't need everything right, and how many of those quarterbacks are out there, the
3,
same
4,
crap
5
is going to happen to whoever the hell is behind center or under center if we don't get this line right. We got to get that right first. Look at what Sam Darnold couldn't succeed with New York. Nobody succeeds with the Jets. Why? Because they never fixed that offensive line. It's just, it's a problem. It's very underrated.
And you look, Baddog, you even look at, like, yes, if you find it Andrew Luck, right? Andrew Luck was phenomenal, right? Andrew Luck was unbelievable. Probably one of the top 10 quarterback prospects in my lifetime. That's how good of a prospect he was. And that's how good he was when he first started. Was taking that team to the playoffs routinely, right? They had nothing. Their line was horrible. So even a guy like him, you saw his career fall short because of it. You need to be able to build a support system for your quarterback if you want him to succeed long term. For me, I want to be able to maximize the potential on the offense, and that is why I make sure that this offensive line is at least trending in the right direction before I start. Again, unless there's a transcendent talent, if there's an Andrew Luck, you draft him. But if there is not, I'm fixing this line this offseason. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, the other thing an offensive line does is it takes pressure off a quarterback, because if you can run the ball and put your quarterback in favorable situations like 3rd down and 2 or 2nd down and 5, obviously he's going to be a lot more successful than when it's 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 7. And it's an obvious passing situation. It just takes a lot of pressure off a quarterback when you can run the ball, because defenses have to play honestly. When they can just pin their ears back and go after you, it's not, when they know they don't have to respect your run because you can't run block, they got no reason to play that. So they're just going to play the pass the whole time. It's going to make it difficult for any quarterback to succeed going against a defense like that. Giants got to fix this damn offensive line. It's not going to be Gettleman that did it. He's another one that sold us a bill of goods, told us he was going to do something and did the complete opposite. And now whoever the new GM is, because I can't imagine, unless there's a miracle turnaround of this organization the next 11 games, he's not going to be the one making these draft picks. So we'll see what the new GM does.
Nope. And we'll see. Joe, man, thank you very much. Joe Vigiani says, yo, thoughts on OBJ in Cleveland? Not the same player he was when he was on the Giants. Was at the game last week. Stadium was 25% full in the 3rd quarter. Well, first I'll speak to that, Joe. I mean, I'm not surprised with the way that the team played. We lost 38-11. I think we were down 38-3, right? So the way the team played, I don't blame people for wanting to get home early. The Giants didn't deserve that crowd, to be completely honest with you. And probably the people that were still there, a lot of them were probably Rams fans. As far as OBJ in Cleveland, yeah, I mean, a lot of people point to OBJ, and I know, like, he's a hot topic, and they say that he's in such a bad situation. Mayfield's not getting him the ball, and that's probably accurate when you look at a lot of the film. I still think OBJ is a good wide receiver. I think people who think he's near what he was before his injuries are lying to themselves. He's not. Do I think he's still a good wide receiver? Like, if he was with the Bucs, do I think he'd catch for 1,200 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns with Tom Brady? Sure. Yeah, I do. Do I think he's an upper echelon wide receiver anymore? No, I don't. I do not.
No, he's never been the same since the ankle injury in 2017. He hasn't. That explosiveness. Listen, he's just had a lot of injuries. Ankles, hamstrings, quads, shoulders. It's just gotten him. And he's not young anymore. I mean, the guy's 28, 29. That's not young as a wide receiver. It's young to me. It's young in life, but as an NFL wide receiver, that's getting up there in age. And I mean, maybe there's a reason Baker don't throw to the guy. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of Cleveland Brown games. I can't be honest about that. I don't know what the chemistry is between Baker and Odell Beckham, but Beckham's been gone for 4 years. I don't think he would make a difference on this team at all. This team's not good. I mean, he was one of the best we've ever seen. His first 3 years here, and he didn't make a difference. He made some exciting plays, but at the end of the day, we were still losing games. So I don't think that him being here would have made a difference either. We're a bad team. No matter how good he could have been or was, it didn't change the fact that we still couldn't.
It wouldn't have improved our line. It wouldn't have been,
right.
So. Or our defense, the way we're playing this year.
Yeah, that's tough.
John, man, thank you very much, man, for the $10 donation. Appreciate it. He says, Stella and stand up with the Giants thinking and hopefully losing to the Eagles. from my buddy Baddog rocking the Allen jersey. What is the best scenario going forward if the GM and coach are replaced? I mean, that's very hard for me to say in terms of GM candidates. The only thing I could say, or even coaching candidates, we're going to get names if they decide to go that route at the end of the year in terms of looking for a new head coach and a new GM. What I've said countless times to that question, I want a younger GM, a more innovative mind, a guy that's maybe a little bit more analytically driven, and a guy that I think thinks the way that I do. Because obviously I'm biased. I'm a fan, but I think the way I think that you build a football team is the proper way to build a football team. So that's why I've talked about guys from the Saints, guys from the Colts. A couple of other teams I've mentioned as well, because they build from the inside out. They build the offensive line, and I think that's what the New York Giants need to do with this football team. So I just hope that they have the proper mindset, but I think they need a younger guy going forward. Somebody that's more with the times, kind of like what Bad Dog said earlier. And as far as a head coach goes, I give you 8-9 names, but I want an offensive-minded head coach. That's what I want. I think in today's NFL, you need an aggressive head coach, a guy that's not like Joe Judge has been over the first 5 or 6 games. I know he was a little bit more aggressive this past game, but a guy that's willing to take shots. You have to win with your offense in today's NFL. That's just the fact of the matter. Yes, can defense close out games? Absolutely. And does a great defense still win football games? 100%. But I want an offensive-minded head coach on this football team.
Yeah, we need to do something different. No doubt about that. So someone comments said you need an elite wide receiver to help your quarterback.
It definitely helps.
It helps, but it didn't. My point is, it did not help us win games. We were still losing games. Your quarterback can have great statistics. Look at Deshaun Watson last year. How great was Deshaun Watson's statistics without a good wide receiver, mind you, because they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. But how good were his stats? They won 3 games, 4 games. It doesn't matter if the quarterback stats are good.
Maybe he misunderstood what you said, Bad Dog. Obviously having an elite wide receiver helps. I think what Bad Dog was saying, though, is Odell on this team, we weren't going to win games because the rest of our team sucked.
Right.
I think that's what you were saying. It wasn't because of Odell that we were losing.
Right.
It was because of the rest of the team was god-awful.
Right. And this was him in his prime, at his best.
Yeah.
He's not. There's no 2000. He's not 2015 Odell Beckham anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't because of Odell. I don't think
Definitely
that's what
not. My point was we were not winning with him, and elite wide receiver is awesome, but it's a luxury piece. You don't need elite wide receivers to win. Of course, they can help your quarterback. Of course, they help your team. They're going to help your statistics, but that doesn't always necessarily translate into wins, and it did not translate to wins here with Odell Beckham. We were not a good team with him here. We won 11 games in 2016. Go back and look at that. We barely won those games. We beat an incredibly weak schedule. We won almost every game by a touchdown or less, I think, except for the one against Cleveland, who had not won that year. And we won by more than 7 because JPP intercepted a pass for a touchdown. I do know Beckham had a punt return called back for a touchdown. I remember that too. But then we played a team like Pittsburgh, got murdered. Played Green Bay, got killed. When we played better teams, we got killed. The 2016 team
outside of Dallas, we did good against Dallas.
Right, we did do well against it. The defense did well against Dallas.
Yeah. Well, the defense
carried that year.
Yeah, the defense was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Ian, man, thank you very much. Unfortunately, defenses usually don't carry over. I agree. And in today's NFL, it's not like the way it used to be, right? When you had the steel curtain in the 70s, when you had the great Bears defense in the 80s, the great Giants defense in the 80s. It's very hard to maintain an upper echelon defense on a year in, year out basis. Obviously, the way you do it in terms of at least having a good defense year in and year out is if you have a very good defensive coordinator. But more often than not, if there's a great defensive coordinator, that guy's going to get a head coaching job. But it's very hard for you to retain your players in today's NFL in the salary cap era when everybody's free agents and everybody's signing at other places. So it's why, you look at the teams, Bad Dog, that are most consistent in the NFL. Are you going to have outliers year to year? Yes. Like the Chicago Bears won 11-5 in 2018 with Mitch Trubisky. You had the Jacksonville Jaguars made the AFC title game, I think, in 2017 with Blake Bortles because they had a great defense and a great running game.
The Titans with Tannehill.
The Titans with Tannehill.
And Tannehill didn't have 100 yards in either one of the wild card or the divisional game. He didn't have 100 yards passing in that game.
Yeah.
In either one of those games when they made the AFC Championship game.
The Niners with Garoppolo. So you're the Eagles with Foles. So you're definitely going to have outliers, but in terms of consistency year in and year out, like you said, Ian, because defense does not carry over because it's very hard to keep a defense intact. Like if I would have told you in 2018, the Bears defense Well, they're still good now. They're not like incredible. You would have thought they were going to be an elite defense for 2 or 3 more years at least. That has not been the case because it's very hard for a defense to remain in today's NFL. It's very hard for a defense to remain as consistently great as they are on a year in, year out basis. And the teams that remain consistent are the teams with the really good quarterbacks, or at least the quarterbacks that are set up to succeed. That's just the way it works, man.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to maintain anything. That's why you have to do it through the draft. That's why you have to have consistently good drafts. You can't afford all these players once they get out of the rookie contract when they're really good, because they're going to command high price tags. That's exactly what you want, though. You want that to happen because it means you're drafting well. There's also somebody in the chat real quick say we're slandering Odell Beckham. I guess the word slander has a new meaning to me.
Hold on, all right, let's clear the air right now.
Like insulting.
Let's clear the air right now. Odell Beckham is the greatest wide receiver in the history of the NFL over the first 3 years in his career. He's the most talented wide receiver who's ever wore a New York Giants uniform. That's not slander.
Right. Nobody's saying that he was not a great player or that he was the man here.
Phenomenal.
Not that guy anymore.
He's not the same player right now.
Fact.
I mean, let's be fair. If we're going to be fair and look at it objectively, if anybody, you could definitely say he's not in a good spot. And I don't want to talk about Odell Beckham because this always becomes a heated topic. He is definitely not in a great spot. And people talk about Baker Mayfield, so on and so forth. Odell Beckham has less touchdowns since he's left the Giants than Darius Slayton had in his rookie year with the New York Giants.
Yeah.
He has 7 touchdowns since he's left the Giants. So to think that he's the same receiver as he once was, you're lying to yourself. He's still, I'm sure, a very good wide receiver. The guy's had a ton of injuries. He's not the same player he was. His first three years with the Giants was the greatest 3-year stretch in the history of the NFL at the wide receiver position. The guy carried the offense in 2017 or whatever it was, 2016 rather, when we went to the playoffs. He was breaking big play after big play. The defense definitely was the stronger unit, but he was our entire offense that year. There's no doubt about it. He was a phenomenal player for the New York Giants. Phenomenal player. So that's not slandering him. Chizola, man, thank you very much. Graham went for potential head coach candidate to trash. Yeah, he at least was getting interviews, I think, with the Jets, and he turned it down, said he wanted to stay with the Giants. Maybe regretting that decision right now, Chizola. maybe regretting that decision right now. And Irish, man, thank you very much. Here we go again. Draft a quarterback when we need an offensive line. Too many fans want a nice-looking car, but don't pay attention to the engine. Fix the damn problem. Yeah, I mean, Baddog, I think what it is, for fans that are adamant about wanting to get a quarterback, I think the biggest thing is they don't want to have to go through the process of building a team properly. And when you get an elite quarterback, that makes up for a lot of holes on your roster. It's just very hard to find those players.
Yep, absolutely.
There's not many of them, like you were saying.
Nope.
And let's see. Joe Madden, man, thank you very much. No more wins. No need to try and win to only go 6-10. So Joe wants to lose out for the rest of the year. What's your take on that, Baddog?
I can never root against a team to lose. I don't have that in me. I don't care how bad we are. We could not win another game the rest of the year. And week 18, I'll still be rooting for them to win. Of course, if they lose, I'm not going to be upset at that point. But I'm not going to sit there and openly root against them. I can't do that. Can't do that.
I'm never gonna fault teams for. I say it all the time, like fans that want to lose at this point, if they feel like they have no shot at the playoffs. Do I understand your line of reasoning? Yeah, you still want the team to be better off. The way you think is by us losing, it's going to help the team next year because we'll have a higher draft pick.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with people doing that.
Yeah,
I just can't do it.
I'm not going to be a fan police. You can root for your team however you want. And fans who feel that way, I completely understand as long as they respect fans that do not want to root to lose just 6 games into the season going on game 7. But do I understand at 1-5 when you look at the Cowboys who were 5-1 that you want to set the Giants up for a better draft pick? Sure, I understand it. Just also understand that the New York Giants are not going to go out there and intentionally lose. But if your rooting interest is for the team to lose games to get a higher draft pick, I'm not going to fault you for feeling that way.
Yep.
MG, man, thank you very much. To Alexa's question, the super chat she gave earlier, dump off Ingram, Slayton, Peppers, and Shepard. Great. The only problem I have with that as far as Shepard goes, I'd be open to trading any one of the other 3. If you could get anything for Darius Slayton, you may, because he's not getting paid a lot of money. Maybe a team's in desperate need of a wide receiver and they know they don't got to pay him a lot of money. Maybe you get something for him. Shepard, I don't think you're getting anything for. 1, because he's constantly hurt, and 2, because he's owed still so much money on that contract. I think it's a $12 million commitment next year, and I think he's still on the contract the following year as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you get something for Shepard, but I think it'd be hard to trade him. The Ingram and the Peppers, if teams have any value for those guys, they're definitely potential trade candidates because there's no financial commitment after this year. And Slayton as well. Shepard to me would be hard to trade though.
Yeah, I think Shepard still carries a cap hit for us, even if we do trade him. I think he still got quite a cap hit because they restructured his contract. I'm not sure, but I thought he still had a major cap hit if we move him. I don't think Shepard's going anywhere.
Yeah,
I don't know what we could get for Shepard either. I don't know. It might be worth keeping him.
I don't think we're gonna get. I don't think we'll be able to trade Shepard, especially after we backloaded some more of his money before the year started. Ninja Service, man, thank you very much. But maybe we can. We'll see. If we don't get rid of Nate Solder by the end of the season and replace him, I'm going to lose my mind. We're paying good money to a not good offensive tackle. What I'll say about Solder is he did take a huge reduction in his salary. So I'm not going to kill him for his salary this year. He actually, I think if I remember correctly, he actually took less than what it would have cost to cut him to come back and play with the New York Giants. So I'm not going to kill him for the financials. But when Andrew Thomas is back, Ninja, I'm with you. I think it's time to see what Matt Parrott can do on an every down basis. Now, Parrott looked horrible last year, but you have nothing to lose. Solder's not going to be in the long-term plans of this football team, and you hope that Parrott potentially could be. So I'm with you, man. Once Thomas is back, which who knows when that's going to be, I don't want to see Nate Solder in the lineup anymore. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I don't see why he would be. The problem is we've been forced to play him because of all the injuries.
Yeah.
For
sure. And I caught up on some of these now. We'll see how many of these I can pull up, and then I'll go back to some of the ones that I may have missed. Diehard says from Zabian, Lakers tomorrow, Bad Dog?
Of course.
What are they playing?
They play at 9:30, so yeah, we'll be ready.
So there you go. Giants game will be over by 4:30. He'll have plenty of time.
Yeah. Be able to take a nap too.
Jeffy, man, thank you very much. Dave Gettleman hasn't made a sure draft pick we can say is a 100% hit since he became GM in 2018. All the picks are gone. Bad or question mark. That buried them. Yeah, I mean, some of it's bad luck. Obviously, Andrew Thomas, to me, if he could stay healthy, I think looks like he's going to be a good player, but he got to stay healthy. Kadarius Toney so far looks good, but it's a small sample size. So right now, could I conclusively say that any of these guys are definitely going to be great for the next 5 or 6 years? No, I worry about Thomas's injuries. I haven't seen enough yet of Kadarius Toney, even though I think he's going to be good. Saquon Barkley, of course, tons of injuries, and Daniel Jones, too many ups and downs, like Bad Dog said earlier. So yeah, so far, and especially when you factor in how high the draft picks were, 2, 4, 6, and 11, and then we obviously traded down to 20. Yeah, I mean, that's factual, Jeff. That's factual.
Yeah, that's why he's going to be fired. There's just nothing. There's nothing I look at and say, like you just said, Jeffrey, that there's a sure thing there. There really is no sure thing, which sucks. He's had 4 years of draft picks. I think he's had 7 first rounders. And there's nothing to show for it. There really isn't. So it sucks, but I don't think we're going to have to deal with him making the picks in 2022. I'll be shocked if that happens.
It's unfortunate, man, but that's the truth. Christopher Spires, man, I'm going to go back to here. He says, we have to admit the Giants defense was smoke and mirrors last year. There was not much talent on that side of the ball. Yeah, I mean, I agree that the defense definitely overperformed what I thought they were going to do. I don't think anybody thought the Giants defense, well, most people I don't think thought the Giants defense was going to be very good last year. They thought they'd be somewhat improved with the additions of Logan Ryan and Bradbury and Martinez, but I don't think anybody thought they would look as good as they did the previous year. And I think obviously a lot of people, myself included, overestimated them going into this year because of their performance last year. But you're right, they probably overachieved, and they also played a weak schedule with all the backup quarterbacks. But what I will say, Christopher, it is undeniable. Go back and look at the defense with James Betcher. This defense has a lot more talent than that defense did. That defense was starting Corey Ballantyne in his rookie year, a 5th or 6th round cornerback. They were starting Antoine Bethea, who was like 36 years old at the time at safety. Who was the middle linebacker? Oh, it was Alec Ogletree, who sucked. So I mean that defense had very little talent. I mean they had Leonard Williams for half a year. They didn't have him for the full season. They traded for a mid-season. So this defense has had a lot more talent than that James Betcher defense ever had. I'll say that for sure, Christopher.
Yeah, I think a lot of us gave credit to, I mean, obviously the talent's better than what Betcher had, but like you said, I think a lot of us felt like they overachieved huge. And a lot of people did not like the Blake Martinez signing. They thought that they paid him too much. And I mean, obviously they did play well, but a lot of us figured that was because of Patrick. At least I did. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I figured they overachieved because of Patrick Graham's scheme. I felt like that had a lot to it. They made plays, obviously, which is definitely on them. But I felt like Patrick Graham put them in situations to succeed. And this year we haven't seen that. And again, I thought they went out and got Adoree Jackson so that they could blitz more and bring more blitzes and play more man coverage. And we haven't really seen that at all. He did blitz a lot against Denver, but other than that, and in Bridgewater made plays, so you tip your cap, but we haven't seen a lot of that. We haven't seen a lot of aggressive defenses, and I don't know what Graham's scheme is outside of this soft zone that he plays, and it just has not worked. And the defense has been soft, just like that zone. Teams that went right down, shoot us up without a problem. Obviously, we've seen it every game before the half. Every game we've given up a touchdown before the end of the half. I don't even know how that's possible. You would think by luck somebody would drop one or they'd have a penalty that makes it first and twice, something. But every time they're 6 for 6. Let's see if we can at least not allow that to happen this week.
Well, that's the other, I think that is the biggest difference between last year's defense and this year's defense. Last year's defense, yeah, did they create a good amount of turnovers? Yeah. But they did get 5 against Washington in one game. They were 10th in the league in turnovers. But where they really thrived, and I think why we didn't surrender nearly as many, we probably should have surrendered a lot more points than we did last year, was because of our performance in the red zone. Last year, going back to your point in terms of giving up touchdowns at the end of the half and short yardage situations, a lot of the times last year, those would be threes. Our opponents last year got to the red zone. I'm looking at it right now, 59 times. They only scored a touchdown 30 times. So only 50.8% of the time, which was the second best ratio in the entire league. This year, when I look at the stats in comparison, we were much better with that bend but don't break approach, kind of what you were just talking about there. This year, opponents have gotten into the red zone. Let me see. They've gotten into the red zone 24 times. So last year they got into the red zone 59 times, and they only scored 30 times. This year, they've gotten into the red zone 24 times so far through the first 6 weeks. They've given up a touchdown 16 times. They've given up a touchdown 67% of the time, and they've gone from the second best red zone defense to the 20th best. And to me, that is the biggest difference with this defense this year. When opponents are getting inside the 20, we're giving up touchdowns now more often than not.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. It's just, I don't know what the difference is. I know you mentioned before we did play a lot of backup quarterbacks last year, but I mean, you look at the first couple of games. I don't know if Bridgewater, you'd consider him a backup, but I wouldn't say Bridgewater had been an
fringe
elite
starter.
quarterback.
He's a fringe starter. That's what he is. He's like the quarterback we're playing this week. He's like Sam Darnold.
Right. Okay. So I don't know what you want to consider that. We did play a backup against Washington, and Heineke, he killed us for 336 yards.
2 plays, 75 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Jameis Winston, I honestly think Sean Payton, we definitely could have lost the game. Sean Payton called a really bad game in that game. I don't know why he had Taysom Hill thrown deep, but Jameis Winston in that game tore us up as well. I think he was 18 for 23. It was something insane like that. And then obviously Dak Prescott and Matt Stafford are going to do what they do because they're really good quarterbacks. But even against Washington, even against a guy like Tyler Heineke, we gave up 30 points. Not good. Not good. I don't know. I don't know what the hell the difference is. It's not like the first 3 teams we played were offensive juggernauts. We played Atlanta. They didn't have obviously Julio Jones wasn't there. Who else was? I forgot who else was out. They had a couple other guys out in that game. Gage didn't play.
They were missing their number 1 corner too.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just amazing what a difference a year makes. I thought McKinney would be a lot better. Not been good. Pepper's been non-existent. Leonard Williams has been terrible.
I think Leo's been okay. I know he hasn't lived up to the contract, but I actually think he's been getting a little more hate than he deserves from the fans because he's been getting doubled and triple teamed. I actually thought he looked good last week. Not to say he's lived up to the contract, but the other guys you mentioned, the James Bradburys of the world, the Logan Ryans of the world, those guys to me have really underperformed. And obviously the Blake Martinez injury as well certainly hasn't helped things either. But and we haven't gotten a pass rush. I mean, especially from the edge rushers. We've got nothing from Lorenzo Carter. Nothing. The only thing Carter's done all year was that interception on the first drive against the Dallas Cowboys. So nothing from him. Ojelar's gotten 3 sacks, but 2 of them were coverage sacks. We're not getting any pressure from our outside linebackers at all, basically all year.
Yeah.
Samuel Weber, man, thank you very much. If I was GM, I'd pick 2 offensive linemen in the first and a defensive lineman in the second. Yeah, I mean, I never like to say that definitively I have to take said position because you don't know who's going to be available. But in an ideal world, Samuel, yeah, I think in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you take the edge rusher first if you could draft Kayvon Thibodeau. But regardless, though, in an ideal world, if you were asking me what positions do I want to take, 2 would be on the line, 1 would be the edge rusher. That's what I would want going into the draft.
We got to fix we got to do something in the trenches.
Yeah,
somewhere, somehow. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know. Like Chris said, I don't know the players that are going to be available. We have to find a way to fix that. You're supposed to build your team from the inside out, not the other way around. So we got to start there. That was never fixed. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that's why I liked Gettleman when he took the job, because that's all you heard. And if you watch my channel, you know that's music to my ears. And he just didn't follow through with it. I mean, he tried, but it didn't work out. And then this year he didn't try, and that's what pissed me off. Abe, man, thank you very much. What do you think about trading Bradbury? Yeah, I kind of just mentioned him earlier, but maybe the super chat came in a little bit before I said it. Free up some cap room next year. It would save about $12 million. Yeah, I've even said, Abe, it's possible we cut Bradbury at the end of the year if we don't trade him because of that $12 million in savings. And if the New York Giants are looking to rebuild, you would think Bradbury, being that he's going to be 30 years old, is probably not going to be a part of the future of this team.
Right.
So that is why, Abe, I've said at this trade deadline, if you could get a second or third round pick for him, I would certainly entertain it. He's not going to be a long-term answer at that corner position for this football team, especially with the way he's looked this year. He could definitely still be a good player in the NFL. But, yeah, Abe, I would, especially being that he's only got 1 year left on his deal after this year, if the right deal presented itself, I'd be open to trading James Bradbury. And I think he could probably get you the most of anybody that is, I guess, tradable on this roster right now. And LeVar, man, thank you very much. He says they activated Sills. What do you think about that? Yeah, LeVar, I know like a lot of Giants fans are going to be super excited about David Sills this year. Not this year, rather, this game. Sills Army. I know he's like a huge fan favorite. And we'll see how the guy does, right? I mean, he's been trying to make this team forever. He's been on the practice squad. I think this is his third year, on the practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. Former quarterback, 6'4". He could go up and get it. Hey, if he could help the team, he can help the team. And right now we're desperate at that position with all the injuries that we have had. We'll see if he gets an opportunity. It's not like Colin Johnson outside of that one game has really done much. And I feel like there are similar receivers. So I'd like to see Sills get a chance. I know it would make a lot of the fans happy. And, we'll see if he gets an opportunity tomorrow. I just hope that Jones has enough time to throw the football.
All right. Well, listen, we haven't had a lot of good stories this year. So hopefully David Sills gives us one. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's that guy. Hopefully he's a bright spot. And we can say, okay, at least we had something good come of this game. And obviously, if he helps the Giants win, that's really all that matters at the end of the day. So hopefully, like Chris just said, Daniel Jones has time to locate him, and hopefully he plays a good game. I'm interested to see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how the kid plays if he gets a chance. I think Slayton's still going to play, it looks like. I think Shepard's going to play. I think Ingram's going to play. So I don't know how much of an opportunity he's going to get. But if he does get an opportunity, I'll be excited to see, how he does tomorrow. Robert, man, thank you very much. The band kept playing while the Titanic sank. That's a good way to sum up this football team. That's a good way to sum up this football team.
Been sinking for a while.
Yeah, we're a submarine at this point.
Yeah,
Robert.
We've been taking on water for a while.
Yeah, we've hit rock bottom. We're on the ocean floor right now.
You would think, Chris, but every time we find another,
the ocean floor gets deeper. It gets deeper.
Yeah,
it's like we got drills and we just drill.
I don't know how the hell it happens, but somehow, some way, it gets worse.
And Duran, man, thank you very much. Similarities in Mara to Dolan.
Dolan fixed it
for now. But yeah, right now I would say the last 3 or 4 years, Dolan's been better. The big knock on Dolan to me, obviously, he also was an owner that didn't have any patience. He's actually the opposite to me, to Mara. I think Mara is too patient to a fault at times in terms of his loyalty to players and coaches and GMs. I think Dolan was the opposite. I thought he was too reactionary at times. Like he made trades before he should have, before the team was ready to do it. He went over Donnie Walsh's head because he wanted to get a big star player in Carmelo Anthony. Wasn't a good idea to make that trade. He was always a guy that, he traded for Antonio McDonald. Like, he was always a guy that I thought was too aggressive. Both owners have had their faults, but I think they're kind of opposite. The thing with Dolan, something that Mara's never done, Dolan embarrassed the New York Knicks organization outside of the X's and O's, outside of the player acquisitions, right? With the whole Spike Lee thing, with the whole Charles Oakley thing. So I was actually at that game with Charles Oakley. But so yeah, I mean, both owners have had their faults. Dolan's like Bad Dog said, it looks like he's starting to get it going in the right direction. Actually, as a matter of fact, you can make an argument that he might be the best owner in New York right now, as sad as that may sound.
It's crazy.
That's crazy because he used to be a joke of an owner, but he's done a better job over the last 2 or 3 years. He's finally letting them build properly. But yeah, I mean, both owners overall have done a really bad job with their teams.
That's a good point, though. You're right. They are pretty different, and that Dolan would get rid of players way too quick, and that Mara hangs on to them way too long. So, I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but it's amazing what happens when you bring in the right coach, a guy that can direct players. This Knicks team plays hard. They play hard for 48 minutes. Our team don't ever quit. Never.
Bad Dog. I don't know if did you watch the game against Orlando?
Yeah, I watched. I watched it for a half.
Okay.
And then I had it on the background, but I wasn't really paying attention. It was just kind of background because they were up by 30. I did see Orlando cut it to like 16, and then the Knicks pulled away again.
But like you were saying, man, and the thing that I love about Thibodeau as a coach, that team, like you said, they played the full game. That they were up by 25 points or whatever it was with like 2 minutes to go, and they gave up an easy layup. Thibodeau called the timeout with like a minute 30 to go up by 25. He's yelling at his rookies because he's trying to teach them to play the right way. And then the very next play down the court, one of the rookies makes a great play defensively, knocks the ball out of bounds off the guy's knee. The team never lets up because they resemble their head coach.
Yep, that's exactly it. I always say that a team takes on the personality of its head coach. Also, when Toppin missed the free throws, he got pissed off at him for missing the free throws.
Yep.
Those are things that, listen, I like that. That's going to make the guys better. The guys that you can tell that they fight for their coach. It's one reason I don't like Aaron Boone. I don't feel like the players fight for him. They may like him and they'll stick up for him because he's easy on them, but on the field, they don't care because nobody's held accountable.
Yeah.
That's not true with a guy like Thibodeau. You're going to be held accountable. If you screw up, he's going to let you know. You got to do better.
I think he's doing a hell of a job. Bob, man, thank you very much. People keep saying DJ has 2 more cheap years. That's a lie. His 5th-year option will pay him 11 to 12% of the cap. Only 2 to 3 quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl making that much. Would it be that much, Bob? It would be the 5th year would be a rookie option. I'll have to look more into that because Barkley only got $7 million on the rookie option. I'm trying to think of a quarterback, Bad Dog, who played on the 5th year. Well, Dak probably played on the 5th-year option, right? Because he.
I do think yes, because was it the 5th-year option or was it the?
Because they tagged him, but he had to play on the 5th-year option as well.
He bet on himself. He won because he got paid. But
let me look at his career earnings. Dak Prescott obviously didn't make much at all his first 4 years because he was a late draft pick.
Yes, he was a 4th-round pick.
1.1 million, 941,000, 630,000, 2.1 million. The 5th year, he is right. He must have been franchise tag because he made 31 million in 22. Oh,
you don't have a chance for a 5th-year option.
Because he was not a
there was no 5th-year option. He was tagged. Yeah.
Because he was a first round. He wasn't a first round
pick.
He
was a 4th-round pick.
When you're a first round pick, there's a 5th-year option.
Yeah.
I don't think Daniel Jones's 5th-year option would be a 10 to 11. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think Daniel Jones would be 10 to 12% against the cap. Now, the next year, it would 100% be. When you franchise tag a quarterback, he gets paid, I think, basically what like the top 5% quarterbacks get paid in the league, but it's just for a 1-year commitment. The 5th year, though, they would definitely pay more than what they have. But the funny thing is, Bad Dog, Barkley actually took a pay cut on the 5th-year option, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah. He's getting less. He's getting more this year than he is next year.
Yeah, in the 4th year as opposed to the 5th because of the running back pay scale. So I don't think it would eat up 11 to 12% on the 5th year for Jones. I could be wrong on that. After that, it definitely would if they were to tag him, though, Bob. Luis, man, thank you very much. Draft O lineman every year, 1st round. Thoughts? Yes. Yes.
Draft it until you get it right.
Fine. Keep doing it. Yes. Bad Dog, I frequently get a lot of people on Twitter, on YouTube, this draft that said, oh, you could just draft Wyatt Davis in the 2nd round, which they didn't do. Oh, you could just draft, so-and-so in the 2nd round. I am sick of saying that. I see people that say, oh, the New York Giants offensive line in 2007, 2008, 2009, they had like a 5th-round offensive lineman. They had a 2nd-round offensive lineman. They didn't. Okay, I look at the Saints. They have like 3 or 4 first-round offensive linemen. I look at the Cowboys. They have 4 first-round offensive linemen. I look at the Browns. They signed a former first-round lineman in Conklin. Obviously they drafted a first-round tackle. You could build things different ways. And as bad as this offensive line has been, conventional wisdom tells you if you spend an earlier draft pick at any position, there's a higher probability they're going to turn out good. And this problem has been so bad and it is so important to fix. Yes, Luis, until we get the trenches fixed, I am all for continuing to draft early offensive linemen.
Hey, Dallas did it. Look where they are now.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make a lot of the fans happy because obviously you want an exciting player, and nobody's really ever going to tell you that an offensive lineman is an exciting player, but they're a very important player, extremely important to what we do. And, you know, a lot of Dallas fans did not like the fact that they kept drafting in the offensive line, but they got it right. The Giants got to do the same thing. There's no doubt about that, man. Got to fix this. Got to fix it from the inside out. The inside sucks. There's no foundation here.
And Ninja Server says, we should go a season without winning one game so Mara could get his head out of his head. If his head isn't out of his, you know what, by now, it's never going to be. We've picked 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 11th, and we're headed for another potential top 5 pick. So we'll see. And no one say, oh, we suck, and I got to do something about it. If he doesn't feel that way at this point, I don't know when he's ever going to feel it, Ninja. It shouldn't take an 0-17 season to do that. As poorly as this team has played over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Bill, Matt, thank you very much. Hey, Chris and Bill, hopefully you're still here because I know you said you were going to bed in the super chat. So hopefully you're still here. Thank you for being such a great supporter on the channel. Enjoy the game tomorrow if you are watching. Hey, Chris, congrats on 40K subs, especially during a rough season. Night boys, tailgating in the AM. Pray for a dub. Enjoy the game, man. Thank you so much. I had 40K. I think my first Nick stream. Thank you so much for all the support, Bill. You're always in my streams. You always support me. Enjoy the game, and hopefully the New York Giants get you a win tomorrow, Bill.
Hopefully, yes, definitely for you, Bill, but hopefully for everybody in this chat and everyone for the Giants.
Of course.
Yes.
We all want to win. Well, a lot of us want to win. Yeah. Bob, man, thank you so much. Conklin, Mingley, Slater, Orlando Brown, all tackles in the last 3 to 4 years we could have drafted, signed, or traded. So much for hog mollies. They screwed up, man, Bob. They screwed up on the offensive line. There's no doubt about it.
Well, Gettleman's not going to have his job after this year.
And Zahid, he says, what's up, Chris and Baddog? At this point, I feel like players like Julian Love, Carter, and Holmes are depth players on most rosters. It's part of the issue. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, they're depth players on this roster. They're not, Darnay Holmes isn't even playing this year. And it looks like Aaron Robinson, if I had to guess, is probably going to take his job that we thought he would have. Julian Love's been a depth player for the last 2 years for the Giants. And Lorenzo Carter's not getting the job done. I agree. They're definitely depth players. In fairness, when you draft a guy in the 5th round, more often than not, like a guy like Julian Love, I think maybe he was 4th round, you don't expect him to be much more than a depth player more often than not. Darnay Holmes, I think, was a 4th round pick as well. But yeah, those guys are depth players. They're not starters in the NFL for most teams.
There's O'Shane Zeman is another guy.
Yeah,
they missed out. And there's a lot of guys that we start that wouldn't be starters in other teams.
Yeah,
even when we're healthy.
Yeah. RJ, man, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Appreciate it. Zig says, how about a little fantasy? I traded DK Metcalf and Adam Jones for Cooper Kupp and Aaron Rodgers. What do y'all think? I'm assuming it's a one-quarterback league because most leagues are one quarterback league, so the quarterback's not as valuable. Because I play in a 2-quarterback. I think Bad Dog does as well. But in a 1-quarterback league, it's a different type of trade. That's tough, man. It depends on how big of the upgrade you had at quarterback. Kupp's been incredible. He's the best receiver in football so far this year. Metcalf started up a little slow. I don't know his stats off the top of my head. That's a pretty even trade, I would say. I don't know what your thoughts are on that or Bad Dog. That's a pretty even trade.
I think it's a good trade. I mean, it depends on your needs. If you need a quarterback, then obviously it's a really good trade. Cooper Kupp has been great. So, yeah.
Yeah, Metcalf, maybe you're selling a little low, but maybe he doesn't reach levels that people thought he would this year. It's a good trade. It's definitely not a bad one. Mike, man, thank you very much. Let's face it, we need a quarterback who can produce behind the worst offensive line in the league with all of his top playmakers injured. Come on, yeah, and that's a disgrace. And 95% of quarterbacks are not going to be able to do that on a consistent basis.
Right.
So, are you going to try for a 5% lottery ticket, or are you going to try to build the team the right way? That's my take on it, Mike. And obviously, the ideal scenario would be that you get both. You fix everything, and you still find one of the top 5% quarterbacks in the NFL in the draft. But, what you really want in an ideal scenario is you want a team that's good enough where you don't need to find one of those incredible quarterback talents, and you can still have a very good football team.
Yep.
Abe, he says, Thomas is the foundation. Draft Neal and Linderbaum, no matter what it takes, and move Gates to guard, then DJ will have a legitimate chance to succeed. If you could do that, if they ended up with Evan Neal and Linderbaum I've seen moving up. I know you like Linderbaum, Baddog. You've talked about him.
Yes, I do. Yep.
Out of Iowa. It is very rare that you see an interior offensive lineman being mocked in the top 8, 9 picks. The last time that was Quentin Nelson. And this guy's good. He's going like top 8 in every mock. So yeah, he's going to be a high draft pick. And listen, if we ended up with both of those guys, Evan Neal's a beast for Alabama on the left side. The only question there would be, would you shift Thomas or play Neal at the right? But regardless, you get those.
It's a nice problem to have.
That would be a very nice problem to have. You get those 2 offensive linemen. This could make this out. And it might take a year because they're young. But by 2023, you might have a really good offensive line all of a sudden if you're able to get both of those players in the draft. Then that would make my opinion about this team long-term much different than the way it is now. If you're able to get 2 hogs like that, those caliber, it would make my opinion change drastically about the New York Giants long-term.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to have a solid offensive line.
Yeah, for sure, man. And let's see what we got here. And Frank says, okay, so we can fire him now. LOL, podcast dead. Well, you're talking about you talking about Gettleman, or I don't know if you're talking about Judge or Gettleman, but I think most fans would agree that we could fire both right now. I think that's the feeling on the fan base right now, Frank. Calvin, man, thank you very much. Rooting for the Giants, but if they don't turn the corner going into the second half of the season, clean house, starting with the GM. Giants fans deserve better. Baddog, if they fired Gettleman tomorrow, would you be upset?
Nope. I wouldn't have been upset last year.
Yeah.
If they fired him.
I think we both said in 2019, we thought they should have fired him. Because it didn't make sense to keep him and fire Shermer.
Right.
For me, it was either keep both or fire both. I would have been okay with either decision. I didn't like the fact that they kept one and fired the other. Once they kept Gettleman, I said, okay, he's probably got to stay here until at least the end of 2021 because now you just brought in a new head coach with Joe Judge. I think he's worn out his welcome at this point. And yeah, I don't see Gettleman getting another year here with the Giants. They would have to win 9 games. They would have to go on an unforeseen run, which I don't see happening.
Yep.
And Bob, man, thank you very much. The O-line could be rebuilt in an offseason. This doesn't take years to do. Only stupid teams like the Giants keep messing it up, like Mara and his son. Well, especially with the 2 picks we have, Bob. And again, I'm not going to expect the line to be like great the first year with 2 rookies on the line. But obviously on an upward trend, if you draft 2 guys like that, with the picks that we have, I agree with you. I see no reason why this line can't be, if we spend those picks on the line, be a much better unit going forward. I agree with you. Mike says Steve Smith, Manningham, Nix, Cruz, OBJ, and now Barkley, Tony, playmakers come to New York to die.
Seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of injuries there, right? Like Cruz, bad luck with the injuries. Nix had some injuries. Steve Smith wasn't here long, but once he lost Eli, was not near the same player with the Eagles. OBJ, of course, has had some injuries and obviously hasn't fit well with the Browns. Tony, some injuries. It's still his first year. Barkley, injuries. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of injuries there, but they also not a lot of support, especially with more of the recent playmakers like the Barkleys, the OBJs, the Tonys of the world. But yeah, a lot of injuries, Mike. And Frank, man, thank you very much. Honestly, Gettleman had the right idea. Build the O-line, run and play deep. Problem is, he got the horse before the cart. Yeah, Frank, and that's why I liked what I heard out of Gettleman. I liked his philosophy. That's what I always say. When Gettleman first took the job, I liked the philosophy because he sold me on it. You know, offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. You watch my channel, that's what I'm all about. He didn't hit on it. He tried. He didn't hit on it. Nate Solder didn't hit. Kevin Zeitler wasn't here long enough. Will Hernandez didn't hit. He didn't hit. You know, he tried to bring in linemen. They didn't work. So he didn't follow through on his plan.
Yeah, everything they tried to do didn't work. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Nick Gates got hurt, but even he, I think, was a little bit overrated by some members of the fan base. He was okay, but he didn't have any long-term answers outside of Andrew Thomas, you could argue. But even now he's dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
Tyler, man, thank you very much. Really hope, let me just pull it up here. Tyler says, really hope our next GM drafts Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, he's I think he's an edge rusher. A lot of people have been talking about him. Haven't done a ton of research on him. You know much about him, Baddog?
I do not.
No. Yeah, I think he's like the second-rated edge rusher in this draft class. after Thibodeau. So, yeah, he's definitely a guy I'll have my eye on throughout the draft. It'll depend on what pick we have. But, yeah, I know a lot of people are high on him, Tyler. Obviously, I'm not doing a ton of homework on the draft right now, but I've seen a lot of people talk about him. Leontre Chesterman, thank you very much. Fire Gettleman, promote KB. KB. I'm thinking you mean KB. Promote KB. I thought Kevin Abrams, that would be KA. Regardless, you're saying fire Gettleman, promote from within, give Judge and DJ 2022. So Leontre says, I don't want a complete blow up. I want the New York Giants to stick with an in-house GM and keep Judge and DJ in 2022. What do you think about that, Beto?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I really don't want to promote from within. I want a young, innovative
You want to blow it
guy.
up. You want to blow
Yeah,
it up.
we have to do something different. I don't know, man. If we bring in Kevin Abrams and he has the same philosophy and as Gettleman, he's going to listen to, be under the influence of John Mara. This hasn't worked for years. So to me, I'd just rather have somebody that comes in with their own ideals and ideas of how to build a franchise. And again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, if that means that the guy is going to get rid of the entire coaching staff and he wants to go in a different direction, a quarterback or something else or whatever, running back, whatever it is, if you're John Mara, you got to let him do it. Otherwise, we're going to be in the same city. We're going to be talking about this 3 years from now. And I'm getting a little sick and tired of having to talk about the new GM and the new coach and this guy sucks in the draft in October. Like it gets tiring after a while.
Yeah, Leontre, what I would say if they go that route, and I've talked about it a couple of weeks ago that I think that's definitely on the table. We'll see if that's what they go with. I'm completely open to blowing it up and bringing an outside mind as well, like Bad Dog said. If they go that route, I think at that point they're saying to themselves, we're gonna give Jones and Judge one more year. We're gonna try to keep things status quo. We're not gonna bring in an outsider who would fire these guys, and we don't want to also force this scenario on a new GM. So they would hire from within, give it one more year, and if there's not significant improvement at that point, blow it up. So it's either going to be blown up in 2023 if things don't start to change drastically by keeping Jones and Judge. So if they feel like they still are trending down the right path, maybe they elect to do that. I think they would need to see a lot more progress throughout the rest of this year, or they just completely blow it up this year. Either way, if there's not significantly improved football in 2022, you would still have a blow up in 2023.
So we're gonna have a stopgap GM.
That's essentially what that would be.
Right.
And if it works, it's more so saying we trust Joe Judge. That's what Mara would be saying. We trust Joe Judge. We think he's going to get this thing going on the right path, and we're not looking to completely blow everything up. And we want to give this one more year. We're going to give the fans their pound of the flesh with Gettleman. That's what that direction would be. The way I feel right now, I'm probably not in favor of that. I probably want to bring in an outside guy and just shake things up at this point in time. But that's essentially what that would be, Bad Dog. Yes.
Yep, agree.
And Big Blue in the Bronx, man, thank you very much. Hate discussing this in week 7, but Don Wink Martindale for next head coach. He specializes in blitzes, elevates his players with less talent. Big Blue in the Bronx is the man. He's got a YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for popping in, my man. Don Wink Martindale was a guy that a lot of Giants fans were interested in during the interview process last time. The Giants brought him in. I think they brought in Bieniemy as well. They brought in a number of guys, but Don Wink Martindale was one of them. He's been the only thing I question Bad Dog about Don Wink Martindale. One, like I've said, I want a more of an offensively driven head coach. That's just me. That's just my prerogative, I guess. But as far as Martindale goes, the thing that worries me with him, he's been a defensive coordinator for so long, and he's never gotten a head coaching opportunity. And it makes you question, why is that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the only question I would have. But Big Blue in the Bronx, you completely hit it on the head in terms of his he gets a lot out of not a lot with Baltimore. They lose a lot of players, and that defense doesn't miss a beat. He's done a fantastic job there as a defensive coordinator. But that would be my only question. I remember a lot of people brought that up when the New York Giants were interviewing him the first time around. Why hasn't this guy never gotten a head coaching job?
It's also interesting that he's been a coordinator, like a really good coordinator with a very successful team. Not that the Patriots weren't successful, but you looked him over or, chose a special teams coordinator over Wink Martindale. So it's that is kind of alarming that you would go Joe Judge over a guy that, does get the best out of his players and has been a bigger part of, a successful team in Baltimore. So, I don't know. Like Chris said, I don't really, Well, we've had offensive guys. Coughlin was a defensive guy. McAdoo and Sherman were offensive guys. Joe Judge is more of a I would think Joe Judge is
He's
more
like
of a
a special
defensive
teams guy.
guy.
I don't know what he is.
I know. I don't really know what he is. I don't know, man. It's just tough. I don't really know who the best coach would be.
I just think that's the trend in the NFL right now. If you look around, like I feel like most coaches that are hired, a lot of them are offensively driven. I just feel like that's the trend in the NFL.
I like Bieniemy. I liked him last time, before we drafted Joe Judge. Or drafted before we hired Joe Judge. I liked him. I like Joe Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Brady be really good with a young quarterback and see what he did with Burrow at LSU. I think that's a good young mind that probably he's going to get a shot somewhere, maybe not next year, but in the future, I think he's going to get a shot with somebody. It'll be interesting to see what we do. I really don't know. Like you said, maybe Joe Judge does stay on here. Maybe they hire Kevin Abrams just for that reason, just to give Joe Judge a third year. Maybe they blow everything up.
We don't know. We're not going to
find out. We're going to find out in February, March, whenever the hell this happens.
Until season's end, and then we'll figure it out. Justin, man, thank you very much. Direct players. I wouldn't let them direct traffic. What's going on, Justin, man? Thanks so much for popping in the stream, buddy. And let's see what we got here. Dire Giants says Leo Williams to Aaron Donald, no question. Donald is better. Tell me why he ain't. Few in this chat are who said Leonard Williams to Aaron Donald? They're not even close.
I don't know.
I know Leonard Williams last year had at least arguably as good of a year as Aaron Donald, but they're not even close. Aaron Donald's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Yeah. What he's been able to do at the interior defensive tackle position, they're not even close. The Giants clearly overpaid for Leonard Williams. We knew that the second that they did it. Leonard Williams is a good player. Good player. Definitely a good player, but not near Aaron Donald. Come on, man. He's not Aaron Donald.
The thing with Leonard is when Leonard has like patches where he's really good one game. He was really good the last game played. He was really good against the Rams at the beginning of the game. But then he has a tendency to just you don't even know he's on the field. And when the thing is, when you get paid the massive contract, then obviously you're expected to really change things. You're expected to really lead. You're expected to be a difference maker. Leonard Williams may have some nice statistics, but has he really made, like, when it's 3rd down and 5 before the half, has he got that sack to get the defense, the offense off the field? Has he made that play that's been the game-changing play? Like, has anybody made those plays outside of Daniel Jones, against the Saints? So I think that's, my problem with Leonard Williams is I think he's too inconsistent. I wanted to sign Leonard Williams back here. There's no doubt. I thought Leonard Williams was great. I didn't realize how much he would miss Dalvin Tomlinson. I wanted Leonard back here. I was happy when they signed him, but he hasn't lived up to the contract. Listen, it's not just him. It's freaking everybody. Nobody's lived up to what the hell they were last year on this defense. Why we're 1-5. It's why we got one of the worst defenses in the league. That's why, like Chris says, Garrett has 1/2 of a sack or whatever it is less than our entire team. Yeah. It's just been bad from head to toe, top to bottom, inside out, upside down, whatever the hell you want to say. It's just been bad everywhere. I mean, has anybody on this team really turned your head outside of Kadarius Toney for the 2 games that he had a chance, where you really said, wow, this guy's amazing. This guy is the man. This guy is the future.
The only guy I could say is Andrew Thomas.
Right. And now he's hurt. And now he's on the IR.
Yeah, before the injuries. That's the only guy I could say this year that I was like, all right, this guy's gonna be a big piece of the future. Yeah. But outside of those 2 players, no, not in terms of long term. There's nobody I could definitively say is definitely gonna be a big part of the future of this football team. There's guys that I will say could be, but nobody I could definitely say. I could definitely say if Thomas could stay healthy, he will be. And I think I could, again, I don't want to say definitely for Toney because it's only been 2 games, but at least he's shown glimpses of potentially being that type of player.
Yeah.
And a pimp named Slickback, I didn't get it here, but I got it here. He says, Dave Gettleman didn't really try. He did patchwork crap. You claim you focused on Hogs and you signed Solder, draft Hernandez, then do nothing for 2 years on the O-line. Yeah, well, no, I mean, I think what he tried to do with pimp named Slickback and it backfired. Basically what he tried to do, and again, we don't know if this was more Mara influence, Gettleman influence, who cares at this point? But he tried to win with Eli Manning and rebuild at the same time. And he tried to fix the offensive line and draft a running back in the same offseason, which you should never try to do. With as bad as an offensive line as the New York Giants had the year before, to just assume that Nate Solder was going to come in there and play at a near all-star level like he did with New England, and drafting Will Hernandez was just fixed thing in one season. You were asking for a lot. And if they had an established offensive line like Dallas, at least the Barkley pick would have made a lot more sense. The offensive line wasn't near established. And yeah, he definitely spent a lot of resources that first year with the Giants trying to fix the offensive line. In 2019, like you said, he ignored it. No doubt about it. He didn't draft an offensive lineman outside of Georgia Sapojai in the 7th round. He did bring in Nick Gates, who was an undrafted free agent who kind of worked out. And then in 2020, he definitely addressed the offensive line, right? He took Thomas with the 4th overall pick. He took Matt Barrett 99, and he took Shane Lemieux in the 5th round. So he definitely addressed the offensive line in 2020, but he didn't follow it up this year. And that was my biggest issue, man. That in terms of the offensive line, he needed to continue to address it this year. And he put too much faith in those later round picks with Barrett and Lemieux.
Yep, I agree. And they wouldn't have had it. Going with Sean Slater is not going to hurt, because again, we have had so many injuries on this team. It would not hurt to have depth on the offensive line, but he could have stepped right in there. We let Zeitler go. So,
and I forgot about Zeitler as well. They also brought in Zeitler. Yeah. In 2019. So that was their offensive addition in 2019. But we let him go, like you said. And Danny Disablement, thank you very much. Don't worry, guys. We can win 9 to 10 games this year.
If we play 30, maybe.
Yeah, if we play 30, we got a shot.
We got a shot,
Danny. So good call there. If they double the season's games, we might actually win that many. But Danny, man, thank you so much for popping in the stream. I really appreciate all the support. Leontre Chester says, sorry, I mean Kevin Abrams. Yeah, I figured you meant that. You didn't have to donate again, man. If it don't work, blow it up then. John Mara steps down as a team president and bring in outsiders for their positions. Well, John Mara's not going to step down. I don't think he will. But what John Mara needs to do, if they go that route, which I think is possible, if they go that route and it doesn't work, John Mara has to wipe his hands clean, and he has to say, you know what? Whether it happens this year or the following year, if it's not working, he needs to wipe his hands clean, Bad Dog. And he says, what I've been doing has not been working. I have to be hands off, and I have to allow whoever I bring in here to do whatever the hell he wants, because it's not been working, and he needs to change it up. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the owner just signed the checks. Just pay these guys. Let them do their job. Your job is being a businessman and hiring the right people for the position, but letting them do their job. So you have to take the hands-off approach, put your trust in whoever the hell you're hiring for the GM, and let them do their job. Stop meddling. It didn't work in Dallas for years. It didn't work for the Raiders at the end of Al Davis's tenure, because philosophies get outdated and you need guys that keep up with the times. John Mara has to have confidence in who he's bringing in as the GM to say, okay, I did a good job with this. I don't need to be a part of it. I trust him. Make your decisions. I'm going to step back. I'm going to let you have free reign. You bring in whoever you want, whatever position you want, talk about the draft, whatever you want to do. I'm hands off. I'm just going to pay you. That's it.
That's all I want my owner to do. In baseball, it's a little different because there's no salary cap. So you want an owner as rich as possible. In football, just sign the checks, man. Just sign the checks, and that's it. Let the GM do what they're supposed to do. You hire those guys for a reason. And I do think, even though I don't think Mara really has say in terms of like the personnel decisions, in terms of who they draft, and in terms of free agency, I do think he did put stipulations. I really do believe that, in terms of sticking with Eli Manning, and his decision to stick with Reese and fire Coughlin, and his decision to keep Gettleman and fire Shermer. It hasn't been well thought out. And
I don't like the musical chair thing.
It's been a disaster. It's been an absolute disaster. Mini Guy, man, thank you very much. Let's go Braves. Yeah, that's right. You're a big Braves fan, man. Going to the World Series. Congratulations. I wasn't rooting for you. I'm a Met fan. You guys are like our biggest rival in my lifetime, but congratulations. I'm happy for you. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to root for the Astros in the World Series, Bad Dog, because, they're like the Red Sox for me. I can't root for the Braves.
I was so happy the Red Sox got knocked out. That was a beautiful thing. I will root for the Braves. Let's go Braves.
Yeah.
Not that I hate the Astros. I don't understand why Yankee fans don't like they knocked us out of the ALCS that happens. I mean, teams are going to beat you. There's
I
no
think it's because of the
rivalry.
cheating. I think it's because of the
I
cheating.
don't even care. Listen, they beat us. They beat us twice in Yankee Stadium. They weren't doing it there. We couldn't hit. That had nothing to do with them hitting. So, and Chapman hung a damn slider. It was a terrible pitch. I mean, Altuve's a good hitter. He had a terrible pitch. It's over. The Red Sox, though, I hate them. Let's go Braves anyway.
Oh, Yankees fan, you gotta hate the Red Sox.
I feel
man.
bad.
That's
Listen, Atlanta sport. You think we have it tough in New York? Atlanta sports fans have it much rougher. So.
Well, wouldn't this be so ironic if the Braves, they won 88 games this year, and they were completely out of it. Like, I remember they were like 5 games back at the All-Star break. Like, the Mets were coasting, and people were kind of like being like, why are the Braves buyers at the deadline? But it's because the Mets weren't running away with the division. Had the Mets run away with the division, the Braves wouldn't have been buyers. They wouldn't have even been in this situation. And it would be so ironic with all those great Braves teams they had when I was growing up in 92, 93, 94, 95, 9. And they won one World Series that entire time with that immaculate pitching staff. It would be so ironic if they won a World Series with this team. Because
without Acuna on top of it.
Without Acuna as well. Yeah, when they lost Acuna, you thought for sure there's no chance. It would just be ironic if they won the World Series this year.
I did pick the Braves to win that division for you, and I never wavered from that. But I never thought they'd be going to the World Series. I didn't think they'd get past the Dodgers. I thought the Dodgers would go to the World Series, but the Yankees only won 88 games in 2000. They went on to win the World Series, so it happens sometimes. You just get hot at the right time.
Nationals did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, the Nationals are like 15 or 20 games under 500 at one point in that season. They went on to win the World Series. So you never know. But it should be a good World Series. It won't be good for TV ratings, but it should be a good World Series.
For sure. And Alvin, man, thank you very much. Blow it up, new GM and coach, draft edge. If there was 3 good offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds, draft them. Keep Jones on the 4th year and draft the quarterback in 2023. Yeah, I mean, like if Jones does, obviously you're going to evaluate Jones in year 4. But yes, if he does not progress, yes, I agree with you. You draft your quarterback, you have a much better situation at that point, and you bring your quarterback into said situation. And the only way I keep Jones, if I'm being honest, you have to look at it realistically and not as a fan, right? As a fan, you inherently are always going to want to defend your quarterback. That's the way I am. I think that's the way most fans are. You want to back up your quarterback. You want him to be the guy, but you got to take your fan goggles off and you got to be fair. And I'm a guy that to extend a quarterback on a second contract, that guy's got to be a top 7-8 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
To be able to pay him that kind of money, he's got to be a top 7-8 quarterback in the league. And if Jones could prove to be that next year, then of course you do it. But if not, you got to think long and hard about a different quarterback at that point, especially if you fix the other holes on this team. Maybe you give him the 5th-year option and you take it from there, but you don't give him the extension until such time he could prove to be worthy of it, which, like I said, is a top 7-8 quarterback in the league.
Yeah. I love to. I mean, he's got to prove that he's worth that money. And when you do give a quarterback that money, even the best quarterbacks have a hard time winning a Super Bowl in their second contract because it commands so much money against the salary cap. But you have to be 100% sure that you believe that guy can win you a Super Bowl. That's really what you're paying him for, that he can win one.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do that, you also have to have a guy that can draft, because you're not going to be able to go out and spend all that money on a ton of free agents. You have to have guys that you're paying on rookie contracts that make plays, which means you have to draft really well, not just for 1 year, but for years. You have to have good depth on your team that starts with the draft. And obviously, the past couple of Reese at the beginning of his tenure here did a good job. In 07, 08, 09, 2010. I think 2011 is where I mentioned. I think he started to fall off in 2011, but he was good his first 4 years with the Giants. Gettleman, in my opinion, didn't have one. Looking at it, hindsight now, I don't think he had one good draft. I don't think there's one guy here that you really can build this team around. Maybe Daniel Jones is, but we still don't know. And I think if that's a question, halfway through his 3rd season, I can't say he's the guy. I think we should know by now if he is or if he's not.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair opinion to have. I saw Dyer, by the way. I should have been shouting this out during the stream. I apologize. He put Baddog's link in the description below.
Sir.
Going over there and subscribe to Baddog. We'll be doing the show next week. It'll be hopefully not another therapy session. It'll be a victory celebration.
That'd be nice.
Find a way to get to 2-5, and we'll talk about that. And we'll talk about our next upcoming opponent, which I think is the Chiefs. We'll be live here tomorrow for the game, so make sure to come on by. But yeah, Dyer, I appreciate you putting that link in the chat. Kyle, man, thank you very much. Hey, guys, I know you already have your mind made up, But if we lose this game tomorrow, what will be your stance on the team? What's up there, NYB man? Thanks for popping in the stream, buddy. Yeah, I mean, if we lose, I mean, it's going to be the same opinion I have now. Right now, to me, right now I'm in a dark place with the Giants, and the only thing they could do is try to drag me out of it. But them losing tomorrow is not going to change where I am. I'm in a dark place right now. Right now, I'm talking about that I feel like at the end of the year they should blow it up. For me to get out of that place, the New York Giants have to start winning football games. So I don't think they're going to dig me any deeper than they have. Right now, I've lost hope for this. I guess the GM and head coach combo right now, and they have to prove to me that they're worthy of pushing forward. As of now, they lose this game, it's not going to change much. I'm going to feel the same way I do now.
Yeah, I don't know how much lower we could get, to be honest with you. It's been terrible. But like I said, it seems like every time I think we can't get lower, we do. I'm hoping somehow we find a way to win. And then we don't have to talk about this. Hopefully we can talk about a win and talk about going forward and build on some positives. I was hoping that would happen with the New Orleans game. Now, I know that Dallas was going to be extremely tough. Did not think we would beat Dallas. Definitely thought it'd be closer than it was. Also didn't think Daniel Jones would leave the game with a concussion. And we were tied at 10 at the half. But no, that's right. Dallas went down and scored. So
would have been.
We were tied before the half, and then it was.
How could you forget, Baddog? We gave up a touchdown.
I know, 17-10. That's right.
I actually looked back at that, Baddog, because I was curious. I was curious to see how we did in that area last year. We did the same thing the first 6 games last year. It wasn't a touchdown, but we gave up 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals.
Bad. We're always bad.
To end the first half last year in our first 6 games, and then it got better. But last year we did the same thing with our defense. We gave up a score on the last possession of the first half in our first 6 games last year. 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals. This year it's been 6 touchdowns, but we were near equally as bad last year in that department.
All right, hot take right here, right now. We're not doing that against Carolina. They will not score a touchdown before the half.
We hold them to a field goal or nothing.
They're not scoring. The last 2 minutes of the half, they are not scoring. Hot take.
I like it. That would be a huge improvement for the Giants.
Something to build on, Chris.
And Mark, man, thank you very much. Leonard Williams is soft, and I told you day one, Dave Gettleman ruined this team for at least 3 years. And I've been telling you, if the D can't get to the quarterback, you're done. I mean, everybody knows that. If you can't get to the quarterback, you're done, Mark. Yeah, I completely agree with that. You're not going to hear me debate that at all. And yeah, I mean, you were right. I mean, yeah, I'll be the first to say it, man. Dave Gettleman did a horrible job here. You were right.
He was terrible.
You were right. He did a horrible job. He failed. And, and like I've said, I'm going to be consistent. Whoever comes in here, I'm going to give them 3 years again. The next GM, I'm going to realize they're inheriting a very bad situation, and I'm going to be patient with them, and I'm going to give them an opportunity. But at the end of the day, I think Bad Dog and myself were both as fair as we possibly could have been with Dave Gettleman. Yeah. And he failed. He failed miserably. This did not work out at all. And we got to hope that the next guy comes in, does a much better job.
Yeah, I think we were both fair. I think we were patient with Gettleman because he did take over a bad situation, and he failed. He did not. Nothing's better. In my opinion, it could be worse. I don't remember what the cap situation was when he took over, but I know our cap situation next year is really bad. So, and again, I don't know one guy there is to build up of. I mean, everybody loves Odell Beckham. You could look back when he took over. That was our one. We did have a guy that's like, hey, this guy's freaking great. We do have somebody that's great on this team. I don't know if we have that person. You could say Kadarius Toney had 2 good games. You could say Saquon Barkley, the dude's always hurt.
No.
Beckham had proven that he was a great player. There's nobody on this team that's proven they're a great player consistently.
No.
So I actually think that we're in a worse situation than we were when he took over.
Fair to say that. The only thing that you could say is maybe a better is if Mara doesn't force the quarterback on the next GM and he says you have free reign, and the extra first-round pick. But you're right. We don't have an established star. You could definitely say that. But we also don't have a 36, 37-year-old quarterback. So I could see both sides of it. But either way, it's a very bad situation, regardless of however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Asia, thank you for popping in the stream. Stand up, my sexy Dana. Chris, your NL East rival. I know, just advanced to the World Series. Salita is pumped up right now, as he should be, man. Congratulations.
He should be.
Congratulations to all the Braves fans. I know you guys are excited. Just know I'm going to be rooting my ass off against you guys. Don't want to see you guys win. Last time they won was 95 against Cleveland, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, that 95 Cleveland team was awesome, but they didn't have great pitching. The Braves had the great pitching.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can win. The Braves have fallen short before. They fell short in 96 and 99 to the
Yeah.
Yankees.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Bad Dog. And we'll see. And we'll see.
Hey, Chris,
No,
thank you for 86.
Yeah, you're welcome. We took
There
down
you
the Red
go.
Sox.
There you go.
96 was great.
Still, in my opinion, the greatest playoffs in my lifetime in Major League Baseball in 1986 playoffs.
You tell me that all the time. You rewatch the highlights from the Astros.
They're
series.
just amazing. No, the games are on YouTube. The ALCS between the Red Sox and the Angels were great. The NLCS between the Mets and the Astros and that World Series, just amazing playoffs in 1986.
Yeah,
And the Giants won a Super Bowl. 86 was fun. I was a kid, but it was fun.
86 was fun for sure. And then in 96, the Yankees were huge underdogs against the Braves. The Braves won the first 2 games. The Yankees had only been to the playoffs once with Don Mattingly, and that was 95 when you lost in the wild card round against Seattle the year before.
Yep.
Braves had been battle tested. They were the defending World Series champs in 95. They got off to the 2-0 start with Andrew Jones hitting the home runs. And then the Yankees came back and won it, and that was one of the World Series I was definitely pulling for the Yankees. I was glad
they outscored us 16-1 the first 2 games of that series. And I thought there was no way that we could beat the Braves. Look so good, and the Braves were actually on 3-1 against the Cardinals in the NLCS, and they came back and they won like Game 6, like 15-0, and then they won the next one like 12-1. Like they were on a roll.
Yeah,
when they got in there and. Things just turned on. David Cohn, man, he turned everything around.
Lyrics too, man. I remember he had a big
home run in Game 4. Yeah, the hanging slider by Wohlers, and he just got enough of it. Went over the wall. We were tied at 6, and Wade Boggs came in pinch hit, got a bases loaded walk. Then I forgot who. I think Ryan Klesko lost a pop up in the lights. Yankees ended up winning that game.
Klesko, I remember Klesko. Yeah, he was a good player for the Braves. Jeff, man, thank you very much. Chris Bando, can we hear that Philly 500 Lamb rant? What is it? Oh, on his YouTube channel. I don't even know. Maybe Bando knows how to get to it. I don't even know how to get.
I can probably let me see if I can find it on the.
Bando's going to work on that for a second.
Yeah.
And Tozy, man, thank you very much. Joe Schoen from the Bills. Try and poach Dabble. Yeah, I think everybody wants Dabble, man. That's a guy that people frequently talk about. Dabble, if we could get him. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of teams that are looking to bring him in. He's been widely credited
there you
go. For the turnaround with Josh Allen with that Buffalo Bills offense.
Here you go. How's that?
I fire Howie. Fucking fire him. Stupid
motherfucker. Philly's had some great ones this year. Some great blow-ups.
Yeah, he flips out. I say every time I pop in there every now and again. I don't really type because there's so many people in there. I've popped in there 2 or 3 times and he completely flips out.
Oh my God. I put a couple on Instagram. I'm like, man, he thinks I get mad. Holy jeez, I don't even do that.
Right. Chef, man, thank you very much. I bet $25 on Adam Smith last game. I might have to stop with this crap because at this point it's a lost cause, or is it? Let's go, eventually, Chef, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Eventually, he's going to catch that touchdown.
You know what happens, Chef? That's like the person that plays the daily numbers, and every day they play the same number, and it never hits. And then the one time,
that's the reason why you got to keep doing it, Bad Dog, because when he stops, he's going to catch the touchdown.
Inevitably,
that's what'll happen.
Maybe you change your bet now and again, Chef, but the one time you don't do it, it's gonna, and then you're really gonna kick yourself in the ass.
Yeah, I think you're this deep into it by this point, Chef. You got to keep at it because
I'm hoping like hell. I always hope for you, Chef, that happens.
He's got a shot.
Giants. It'd be nice for us to get a touchdown.
He's got a shot, man. What's up there, Patrick Graham, man? Thanks for popping to the stream, man. Who is Mark Holmes? He's a Dallas Cowboys YouTuber.
Yes.
And the ground, man, thank you very much. I want the Braves to go up 3-0 and then choke it. That'd be great.
If anybody can do it, it's Atlanta.
he reminded me of the Mets series, one of my favorite Mets series of all time, and they lost it, but it was such a great potential comeback. And I'm sure you remember that series 99 when the Mets were down 3-0.
Was that the walk-off grand slam?
The grand slam single by Ventura in Game 5 to send it to Game 6. They won Game 4. They won Game 5 in dramatic
fashion. Kenny Rogers blew it for you.
And then Kenny Rogers blew it in like the 12th. He walked in the run. The Mets had to lead that entire game, and then Franco blew it, and Benitez blew it, and then Rogers walked in the run in like the 12th inning. That would have been that potentially could have been the first ever comeback from a 3-0 deficit. Had the Mets won that game, I think they would have won Game 7. They just would have had all the momentum and all the pressure would have been on Atlanta. Of course, Boston, not to rub it in.
Yeah, no,
Eventually did it in.
Never forget that.
In 04 was it?
Yeah, 04. That
Yeah.
was 03 and 04 took 10 years off my life. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I do remember that. Kenny Rogers, you talking about the Jim Leyritz one? Yeah, Kenny Rogers is the reason we got in the 6-0 hole to begin with. He pitched terrible in Game 4. So
Kenny Rogers, man, and he pitched great on the Tigers too. When in 2000 and
the pine tar on his thumb. Remember that?
And 2006,
the pine tar all over his thumb.
Yes, yes. The year where the Mets were the best in 06 and they fell short. That was the year Rogers was great with the Tigers, and then they ended up getting swept by the Cardinals. And you want to talk about a team, and I love talking baseball. You want to talk about a team that had one of the worst records of all time to win a World Series? The 06 Cardinals, the team that beat the Mets at 7, they won like 83 games in the regular season, and they won the World Series that year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen is right.
Diehard, man, thank you very much, man. I got to figure out how to get Philly 500's Mother Blanker as my notification sound. Send me that clip, Baddog. So there you go, man. There you go, man.
Diehard, I'm going to send it to you right now on IG.
Yeah, so that was 06, I think, what you're talking about with the curveball by Wainwright in Game 7 against the Cardinals. Let's see. Did the Giants sign Golladay? Of course they signed Golladay. What are you a year? Did you just go back to the past? They've had Golladay on the roster for quite some time. Rex.
Giants, man. I sent it. Check your DMs on IG. I just sent it to you. Oh, you got it. Okay, cool.
And I appreciate that, Nikki. Thanks so much for popping in the stream. It is 12:12. We start at 9:45. We're gonna get set to close this out. I just want to say, Neil, we'll see about the Knicks. I had a couple people ask me that when the stream started. We'll see how I feel. I may be eating dinner also with my sister. We'll see. But if I'm free, I will do the Knicks game. I'm definitely doing the Giants game. If I miss this Knicks game, I'll definitely do the Sixers one. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. I can't say thank you enough. And by the way, Milkman, not only did they choke in 06, they choked in 07, they choked in 08. The Mets surrendered a 7-game lead with 17 games to play in 2007. You can make an argument, and I can talk about the Mets all day. You can make an argument from 2006 to 2008. The Mets were the best team in baseball. They only made the playoffs once. It was a disgrace with that Mets team between 2006 and 2008. Didn't even make a World Series out of it. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for all the support that you guys always show on both of our channels. This team is horrible. We still had over 600 people in this show at one point. I'm blown away, by all the love and support that you guys always show us. And I just hope that one day this team, gives us a reason to be as supportive as we have been through the darkest of times. And hopefully tomorrow they go out there and win. That's all I could say. Am I expecting it? No, I'm not. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys the rest of the way. My opinion of this team, it's probably not going to change. I'm very down on them. Until such time they give me a reason to think differently, I'm going to feel that way. So hopefully tomorrow they take a step in the right direction. They find a way to get a win that I frankly don't expect. And if they do it, who knows? You take it a week at a time. But not very high in this team, especially with all the injuries. We'll see if they can get the job done. But can't say thank you enough. Of course, Baddog, always love when you come on the channel. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for trying to raise my spirits a little bit. I was really down last week. I just, and I'm not, tomorrow I'm going to be much more relaxed. I ain't going in, I'm going in expecting a loss. I'm going in thinking very negatively going into the game and hoping to be pleasantly surprised. But I appreciate you for coming on and, looking forward to doing it again tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, say it all the time. This is my favorite thing I do that I do on YouTube is this show. I love it. I love what it's become. I love the growth of it. Could never do it without you guys and girls. I've mentioned this a number of times. The first time we ever went live, I think we had eight people in there, and we've had upwards, as some of these streams, 1,300 people. It'd be so much better if we could be talking about victories and positives and, hey man, we got this going for us, we got that going for us. It just sucks.
So, by the way, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just had to say, I don't know if he's talking to us. We definitely don't hope to lose. We expect to lose. I'm praying that we win. I expect to lose. But go ahead, Baddog.
No, I was just gonna say it sucks that
I'm picking us to lose, Trace. Don't say I followed you guys for years and now this. We are not saying we want to lose. We expect to lose. We don't think we're gonna win. But go ahead, Ben.
It's just tough. I mean, it's been rough for 4 years. It hasn't gotten any better. We were hopeful last year at the way the second half was and the additions that this was going to be the year. Chris and I both said for years, 2021 was the make or break. It's broke us. It seems like it's broken us as fans. It's broken the fan base. It's broken the team. I don't know what else we can do. All I do know is without your support, Chris and I wouldn't be here. And we will continue to support this team no matter how bad they are, no matter how dark the days are, no matter what this team looks like in the future. We'll be here because we love the New York Giants and we love each and every one of you. And we appreciate all the support that you show us through the worst of times. I say it all day. I guess I have to keep saying it, Chris. Just imagine how great it's going to be when we're good. Imagine how much fun it'll be when we're good. Win tomorrow. It's hard to pick the Giants to win games right now. And I don't really know. Like I said, especially with the injuries. I mean, we have Sills going to be playing tomorrow. We have no Andrew Thomas. We don't have a lot going. There's no Barkley. There's no Kadarius Toney. There's no Kenny Galladay. There's nobody playing. But you never know. We were down in the dumps. Didn't look like there was any chance of winning in Seattle. We went in and won the game. Win one game, win it tomorrow, see where we go from there. Let's talk about a win next week. It'd be nice.
I would love to talk about a win. I hate coming on here talking about losses. And Trace, man, I love your optimism, man. I love your spirit. And I'm going to tell you what, Trace, at kickoff, I can't help myself. I'm a fan, and I'm going to convince myself while I'm watching the game that, yeah, they have a chance to win this football. They definitely have a chance. It's a football game.
I always think that before every game that we have a chance to win.
But I have to be honest with my subscribers and honest with myself. If I take my Giants cap off, some weeks I expect us to win, some weeks I expect us to lose. I expect us to lose this week. I'm praying to God we win. I'm going to root my ass off for this team to win. And come kickoff, you'll see me being fully invested in this game, thinking the New York Giants have an opportunity to win it. But we'll see. I want them to impress me. I want them to change my opinion of this football team. At the end of the day, we're a 1-5 team. We've been a 1-5 team, it seems, every year since 2016. So we'll see if they can start to right the ship and turn things around. Like Baddog said, we have a lot to overcome. A lot of injuries going into this game. But on the other side, there's injuries as well. We'll see if we can pick on Sam Darnold. He hasn't been himself the last couple of weeks. We'll see if the Giants defense.
No, he has been himself the past couple
Yeah, exactly.
He has been himself the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You mentioned if there's a team that we can beat, it's Carolina. I mean, after that, it gets tough. We were playing the two teams that played in the Super Bowl. Vegas. I mean, they're all pretty good teams. So if we can win a game here in the next month or so, or we have a better chance anyway, it'll be this one. And we're going to have to produce when we get the opportunities. We're going to have to win the turnover battle. I mean, it's the same thing every week. The Giants haven't really shown a consistency to be able to do that, but every week's different. You never know. Chris Berman said that's why they play the games. So hopefully we come out with a W. We're going to have to play a lot better than we played the last 2 weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Trace, man, I love you, man. I love your attitude. I could never get mad at fans like this. I love it, man. I love that you stay positive and optimistic and you continue to root on your football team, man. I love it. I do. I admire it. So, even in the darkest of times, you continue to, believe in this football team. That says a lot about you, man. So I appreciate that. A lot of people call you delusional. Maybe it is, but that's being a fan. You love your football team, and I will never talk bad about fans like that. So I appreciate the spirit that you have for this football team. Sometimes it's hard for me to feel that way, and right now it's kind of like that. But I always try to be as optimistic about the team as I can, and I got nothing respect for you or any fan that feels the way that you do, man. So let's go out there. Let's get a win, man. I hope you're right. I hope the New York Giants go out there. They shock the world tomorrow, and well, not shock the world, but find a way to get a win against Carolina, and maybe we double it up. Who knows? One week at a time. But thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you guys for all the support. And let's go get a win tomorrow, guys. Baddog, do what you do.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 12:45. So, right? Is that what it is? We play 1 o'clock.
Yeah, game starts at 1. So, yeah, 12:45.
12:45. Entertain this channel. We'll be there. Let's get a freaking win. Bad Diggity Dizzle, Entertain Target Sports. We gone. Peace.